Check. I got nothing.
Wait.
Lori says she'll be here 1 minute and then I'll let them in. First one, or you want to?
You can let it in.
All right.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Ready?
Good.
You are. Okay, I gotta swear you. You yourself swear or affirm that the
I
information.
can't hear you, you have to speak up.
Okay, do you solemnly swear or, oh, wait a minute, I get this thing right here.
Let me try.
Yeah.
No, I don't, show me.
I'll speak loud. I don't think it is. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the information you're about to give will be given accurately to the best of your ability?
Yeah.
That's official.
Let's start. Let's start.
Yeah, you start.
Was that the assessment was in here before?
Yes.
Okay. She raised my assessment by $3,100. She said that I had an addition put on. But no, it's not an addition. It's a replacement. I had my deck replaced because the one that was replaced dates back to '88. So it was due. So it's not an addition. It's as simple as that. I'm done with that part. I do want to go to another point when we're done with it.
Can I ask a question?
Yes,
If you're finished. Was the original deck already noted by the assessor?
okay, again, was the original deck what?
Noted by the assessor?
My apologies.
Or was it just being replaced and,
Yes, the original was on the record.
Okay,
right.
fine.
thank you.
It's a matter of semantics.
Call it what you want.
Is it an addition or is it a replacement? She said it's an addition. I'm saying it's replacement because it was due. I was happy that, pardon me, it lasted this long from 1980.
Thank you.
Can I speak? Will I be allowed to? Okay, so can I ask you, sir, is your new deck the same size as your old deck? Because I'm under the impression it's a different size.
No, I am having a hard time. I heard something about size. What's the size?
Sorry, sir. I'm under the impression that your new deck is a different size than the old deck. You changed it.
It's 2 feet longer because the contract was too lazy to cut some feet out the board.
That's the reason why, sir, it doesn't qualify as an existing. It's not the same size and it's not the same deck, footings, et cetera. All that changed.
The prior one was 12 by 18. This one that he replaced was 12 by 20. Why did he get 20-foot lumber instead of 18-foot lumber? Probably has to do with the shortage during the pandemic. Do you want to charge me for the pandemic?
Sir, I don't understand what you're.
I'm having a hell of a time on this.
It's not, I'm sorry, I'll take my
Use the
mask
mic.
out. Sir, I was using the mic. Oh, I have to press that? Okay, this is not the same deck, it's not the same size, and therefore I reassessed it, and it was a very minimal assessment. If it was exactly the same, then I would not have, many people did put up decks that were exactly the same, but replacement means that you're replacing in like kind, and this is not a like kind. And based on that, it did get a new assessment.
You're raising my assessment by over $3,000 for 2 feet.
We did as we do with all properties, our decks are $35 per square foot.
Without what?
I said our decks are valued at $35 per square foot. That is the change.
Are you still sticking to your original statement that it's an addition?
I'm not, an addition is not a deck. This is a deck that is a new deck. There was a deck there before, but it is not the same deck. So it was assessed.
So are you agreeing with me that it's replacement and not an addition?
I will repeat again, sir, it is a new deck. It is not the same size as the old deck. It is a new deck.
Of course it's a new deck, because it replaced one that was built in 1988.
I do not agree with you.
Any other questions?
You didn't put a roof or anything on this. You didn't put a roof or anything, it's just a regular deck, right?
Excuse me, or what?
It's just a deck. It's not a room. No?
Yeah, it's a new deck.
Yeah, that's just, okay. I don't know.
Except for the 2 feet longer, it's the
Yeah.
same size,
Yeah.
Same.
nothing on top of it around.
Okay, now. Son.
Anything else?
No.
No, well, we have to meet again.
You think?
We meet again as a board later, and they'll send you a letter explaining whether they go with it or we change it. We have to discuss it. All right?
Okay, I have a second point here.
Oh, all right.
You notice this letter that I received. Oh, let me ask a question first. Are taxpayers assessed on the size of the lot?
Can I answer that?
Sure.
Land values in the town of Land values in the town of Newburgh haven't been valued for many, many years. The total value, however, is what our taxes are based on and what values are based on, and your property is very underassessed. Would you like to know how much? If you tell me the assessed value, then I can tell you what your market value is.
Just,
We don't assess the land separately from the total, no. It's got a land value and a total value. The land values have not been adjusted or changed for in excess of 50 years.
Are you talking about the deck or the lot?
Lot and land are synonymous.
Are you talking about the deck?
Oh, I'm sorry, sir, I thought you were asking about your land.
Yeah, I am. I'm talking about the land. Simply, yes or no? Is the land being taxed too?
In real property tax law, there is a total assessed value. Within that total assessed value, there is a portion that is attributed to the land and a portion that is attributed to improvements, such as buildings.
So
Yes.
say yes,
I think
okay,
Yes,
she's not, she's not agreeing, but, this gentleman is, the land is included. I pointed out to the nice ladies over there in the office that this notice, and as it turns out, I was correct. The notice says that my frontage is 105 feet, which I agree with, it is 105 feet. The depth on here, and on the map, shows 177 feet. Now that would make it a square lot. It's not a square lot. The west side of the lot, the depth is 177 feet. I agree with that. I pointed out to the assessor that the eastern side, in reality, is between 144 and 150 feet. The map says 144 feet. She told me to get a surveyor.
Well, I look on one of these charts I have,
That's
Gary,
not true. I'm sorry, I have to interrupt.
and we
I
have,
told you to go to the Orange County Department of the county.
I'm
to
still
go to
having
the
a hell
mapping
of a
department.
time.
I told you to go to the mapping department.
Can you please use the microphone?
Oh, okay. Sir, I specifically told you that the county has a machine that does the mapping automatically, and that you could go there and they would likely help you. I did not tell you to go to a surveyor. I directed you to the department, Orange County's Department of Mapping.
You're right. She's sending me to the county. The map over in the office shows that it's not a square lot. And it's 144 feet on the eastern side.
I'm sorry.
No,
finish.
but-
I'm sorry, I thought you were finished.
I'm speaking.
I thought you were finished. Go ahead.
If I have to drive out to Goshen and go to the county, and they confirm that anything, why should I spend my day driving out, going to Goshen? I'm not like the former legislators who got paid mileage. I'm going by the map. The lot didn't change. It's always, I thought it was 150 feet on that side.
Sir,
The map showed that it's 144 feet. That's a huge difference.
sir, please, may I stop you? I see that you're getting upset and I don't want you to be. The way that we write on RPS, what the dimensions of a property does take into account for the irregular type of property. But typically, they just give us the amount of the frontage and the amount of the longest sides. The actual county has an exact replica of what your drawing is as by your meets and bounds description, I'm sorry, meets and bounds description, as I explained to you. I'm sorry that you're not understanding. The fact that this thing says it's the frontage is one number and the depth is another doesn't mean that they have your property incorrectly. It's just that they only let us pick one side for depth or the other. It's not relevant to what the actual total square footage is. We very, very likely, we can verify if that's correct, and you can verify if you want to call them on the phone what the exact size is, because as I repeated and I told you in our office, they do it by the meets and bounds description that is within your deed when you buy your property. What I thought you were saying was that you thought there was an error, and that's why I asked you to go to them, because they are the people who can fix that error if there is one. But if you're just assuming that because of what is written on our record, I want to reassure you that that is just because the way is the depth, the frontage, and then one side of the depth, and it's usually the longer side.
That's what it sounds like to me.
But
It sounds like you want me to do your job.
We have a correct measurement as far as I know, so. If you want me to change it, the law says that my record is correct unless it's proved otherwise. Sir, I believe that it is the correct measurement. It's just you are not understanding what is going on. And I don't blame you for being upset. If I didn't understand it, I'd be upset too. I'm just telling you that they have a machine that maps out each and every map, and they update it every year. And your property got that drawing when you did your sale, and they've been updating it from year to year. So if there is an error, believe me, they're very happy to correct that error, as are any of us. So if you think it's wrong, we can go and look. Keith, please, can you just go in and look on this property and see what the total square footage is? Do you know what size your building, your total square foot of your site is supposed to be?
7,600, it says here.
Okay, can you please go and verify that it's 7,600 by looking at the acreage? See if
I agree with the map that she has over there.
I'll have
And
to
it's
look at
always
it.
been, land doesn't change. It gets wild if you don't care for it. It doesn't change, measurements don't change. And interestingly enough, the government at various levels has admitted that the old colonial surveyors using the primitive methods that they did, they're accurate. They're within inches of what the modern equipment is showing. Land doesn't change. My lot has always been what that map shows over there.
Hold on for a minute and we will, I'm sorry. Sir, if you'll just give us 1 minute, I keep going to verify the acreage as we speak, and we can solve this problem hopefully right here and now.
Just by what?
I said, and we can solve this issue right here and now. Keith is going to verify what the acreage is. And then we will know what our record is showing with full square footages. That I keep on telling you that depth is, it can, for irregular properties like yours, it can be different. We are required to keep the longest number. That is our habit, of the longest number of the depth. Do you understand?
I prefer not to deal with the county. You know why? I'll tell you why, even if you're not interested. I've been trying to get a postal inspector, federal postal inspector, to talk on the phone so I could present him with the problem with my carrier. You ever try to get a postal inspector? You don't want to.
I'm very sorry for that.
No, you don't be sorry. The federal government. That's why when I send letters out, like when I send tax bills out, the stamps I have a flag on. I turn them upside down because at many levels of government in this country, we are in distress.
I'll agree to that. Sorry, but we'll have an answer momentarily. Seriously, sir, we will have an answer momentarily, and Keith will be able to answer what we have as your total lot size. So let's at least give him the chance to go and check our record in there. We can do that at our office. It's just that I'm explaining to you, it is not by front footage and depth. You don't take the front footage and the depth and you don't times them by each other to get the lot size that we're saying you are. We have a second measurement that you cannot see from the public that's called an acreage measurement. It's a point of 1 acre, a percentage of 1 acre. And that will show what we truly have there. And it's on every record. And if I had understood what it was that you were questioning that day, I would have had them do that calculation then. So now unfortunately, we're doing it now. We've got you out of your house, and I'm very sorry for that. But let's see what it is first. Give us a few minutes. He will be back.
Coming back?
Okay.
But to repeat what I said before, I am not going to deal with the county.
We'll take your meets and bounds description. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, guys. Is it okay if I continue to talk with this gentleman? I want to try to see something. Sir, I'll take your meets and bounds description. If you bring in your copy of your deed to us, we'll make a copy. I'll take it and I will bring it over to the Orange County Department of Mapping, and I'll ask them to verify and tell me if it's right or wrong. And if they think they've done something wrong, they will correct it. I would gladly do that for you if that's what you want. Let's see what Keith says.
Here we go.
Well, are the gentlemen going to be involved in that?
Yes.
Okay.
0.42,
So for-
Total. 0.42 of an acre,
And
Okay, I'll tell you what it is.
18,585 square feet,
18,000,
585,
585 square feet.
which is 0.42 of an acre.
But the numbers are beyond. Yeah, I know a junior high, or was now called middle school math teacher could come up with the square footage of my lot. But it's rather unorthodox. It's not square, so somebody would have to compute the triangular part and the square part and add them together, but you're coming up with 18,000?
18,585.
Okay,
18,585? It's, okay, 43,560 times 0.42 equals 18,295. So you think you're only 7,600, you don't think you're 18,000?
I could probably what?
I said, you think that you are 76, oh, I'm sorry. You think you're 7,600, not 18,295?
7,600 is the value of the land.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Well,
I
that's
thought
the
you were
value of
saying-
the land?
I thought you were saying
I'm sorry.
7,600
I
was the
just did-
size
I
of
just
it.
did a calculation.
Sir, how big is your lot?
0.42. There's 18,000, I came up with just a pencil, 18,768 square feet.
I came out with 18,295. It's 43,560 divided by, times 0.42 equals 18,295.2. It's 43,560 for an acre.
How much is it?
43,560 is an acre.
Oh, I see.
So it's 18,295. So if his lot is worth 76, if the assessment is 7,600, our equalization is 0.2825. That equals an assessed value of 26,902 for the land, divided by 18,296. I'm just going to do 18,090.
Now, a question, my dear.
So, sir, we have your property assessed at $1.04 per, is that square foot? Yes, square foot.
A question, my dear.
Yes, sir.
Does your acreage, do your numbers match a square lot or my lot?
Sir, there's a part of RPS that allows us to check a box that says irregular. We have an acreage amount, and our acreage amount is 0.42?
Yes.
0.42 on the record. You're saying that you're 0.42 as well. We are in agreement.
You just have a heck of a time answering a question, yes or no, don't you?
Yes, sir.
Let me ask the question again, if you would please choose one or the other.
Okay.
Do your numbers match the configuration of the lot that my home is on? Or do they match that imaginary square lot?
They match the number that you agree is the correct square footage for your house. That length times width figure is just, it's just it's a recording like somehow we record things. We take the width of the property, the frontage of the property, and we usually choose the largest depth number. It's not supposed to represent what your total square footage is. That is represented by the acreage number that every property also has. If you go next door, you will be able to see it's written right in RPS as it's always been, always been.
You know, I am plowing behind this man.
I do.
Okay. Now, do I have to go home? Well, maybe you can help me out here. Well, how do I compute the square foot of a triangle? Is it A squared equal B squared plus C squared?
No.
Mike, do you want me to tell you how to compute? The area of a triangle is 1/2 the base times the width, sir.
So you're not answering the question.
No, that was pretty
Yes
accurate.
or no? Does that formula, A squared equals B squared plus C squared? I forgot what the question is.
You want to know, how do I calculate a triangle?
Oh, okay, yeah. Will that give me the square footage of a triangle?
It will give you the area of a triangle, yes. The calculation she just gives you is a math equation to provide you with an area of a triangle, which in your case is a lot. So yes,
Okay,
the answer
so
is
I
yes.
use the old Carpenter's method of squaring something. And I break it down, I break my lot down into a triangle and a square. And use an A squared plus B squared plus C squared, and add in the square part of my parcel. That will give me 18,000 square feet.
No. But 0.42 times 43,560 will get you 18,290, which is what your lot is.
Okay, I'm gonna go home and do this.
43,560, that's an acre, sir. You're 0.42.
Hey, we've been talking for a long time, but you still didn't answer my question.
I answered your
What,
question.
no, I'm rewording. What about the numbers of the depth?
The numbers of the deck.
The depth of my lot?
There's two different numbers on your deck, sir. We only record one. And then we secondly back it up with the acreage amount, which reflects the true size of your lot.
I'll record the smaller one.
Okay, I can do that if you want, but it's not gonna change anything. If you want me to do that, I'll do it.
If I go
If you
177
sell your
feet,
property, do you want to use the larger number or the smaller number, sir?
if I go 177 feet on the east side of my property, I'm gonna be in my neighbor's kitchen.
If you sell your property, is your depth 177 feet or is it 150?
And I don't want that guy mad at me. He wears a ponytail, and last year there was a stabbing in his house.
Sir, can I ask you a question, please? Would you say to the court, is the depth of your property 174 and on one side it's 150?
177 on one side. the
It's
west side.
177 on one side and it's 150 on the other. So we're not incorrect.
Should be between 144 and 150 on each side. All right, gentlemen, thank you very much for the hocus pocus here and your patience. I really appreciate it. Mike? No? Okay, thank you. Anything you want to add? Thank you.
Twenty minutes.
Hey, of course. I want to keep that in the middle of the thing, but I was like, it's the only one that's not working.
You guys need a break?
I'm so sorry.
All right,
I'm so sorry.
Mullen, Willie, and Finn.
I want to apologize, I read the 7600.
Les Lillian's out there.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I got totally confused by that, I'm so sorry. It took me a minute to recover, my apologies.
Jerry, was he ever president?
Gary, we just went through a lot, so you better need news.
It will be short and sweet. Well, we're trying to be short as possible. Hi, everybody. Hello. Am I being sworn in right?
Actually, I think of a pencil, I got the same as the sugar.
Does anybody need a pen? I have a pen, an extra pen. if you need it. Okay.
This is very wild.
Yes.
You swear in?
Yeah, you guys gotta swear them in, oh, sorry.
That one works.
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Number 2,
Are you ready to go?
yes, we're ready.
Here you go. I have to swear you in.
Okay.
Do
do I
you so-
stand?
You Mayor, do you solemnly swear or affirm that the information you're about to give will be given accurately and truthfully to the best of your ability?
I do.
Okay.
Good
And
afternoon, everybody. I'm here to talk about, I'll sit in the middle. I'm here to talk about 400 Auto Park Place. It's, I don't know how familiar you guys are with Auto Park Place, the road. It was the Enterprise Rent-A-Car building before they moved it to the front. Enterprise moved out of that building over 3 years ago. That building has been sitting empty since then. I want to take some time to talk about 2 things. First, the assessment as it stood, forget the fact that it's been sitting empty all this time, was $835,000 for a 9,921 square foot building. If you turn to the page of the spreadsheet, it's behind my grievance. I have yellow on mine, but it's like an Excel spreadsheet. Oh, you don't have it? I can't find it. Let's see. I don't think you have one. It doesn't look like mine.
I'll share.
I don't know where this is. Not in my file. There we go. Page. It isn't in yellow, it's classified. Hudson Valley Property Tax Reduction. Works Realty. It's back here. Sorry about that, guys. It's okay. Out of sync. Yes, everything's out of sync. That's good.
yeah,
Good show.
Thank you. Okay. I'd like to turn your attention to that page. Okay, what I've done here is across the top, you'll see the square feet of the building, year it was built, the current assessed value. Unfortunately, when I did this, the old EAP rate was $29.95. It's now gone down since then. I think it's 2.9 and change million.
2825 right now.
To what?
28.25.
No, the E3, yes. The market value of the building is approximately 2.9 and change right now. And the per square feet on that, for assessed value is $84.60 assessed for that bill, for that 9,921 square feet. I listed below the most recent sales for the code that this building is put in. Code number 464 and 465. One is office building. I think the other one is something similar in office space. Yeah, the first two really are not the quality or the size of the building that we're talking about. The bottom two is where I was going to focus. You have a building on 254 Route 17K, basically the same street, or the park is just off of what it was 17K, heading down towards Broadway. And then the other one is 11 Racket Road. Those buildings are 18,000 and 23,000 square feet. One sold for 1.9 million. The other one sold for 2.8 million. 2.8 million. The assessed values of those properties were both far lower than this one building. One's at 663, the other one at 731, for more than double the space and not dissimilar conditions. Their assessment per square feet for those buildings are coming in at 3606 per square foot and 3180 per square foot.
I'm sorry, pardon me for 1 minute. I'm sorry, can I just interrupt? I just want to let the board know, we have a transcriptionist here, and all these testimony that he's giving, it's all going to be typed up and written and put into a book for you guys to all look at when you're doing your determinations, just so you know. So if you miss something in your notes, don't worry, she's doing every word. Sorry, Gary, go ahead.
It's okay.
I'm sorry.
If you look, we're talking about that last column over there on the right, where I had just mentioned 3606 to 3180 for the two larger buildings. If you stand up for the building that's in question, that I'm talking about today, that building is currently assessed at $84.16 per square foot. For similar condition, similar type of building. One step. Does anybody have any questions about that?
Did you, I don't know off the top of my head, but did you take acreage size into consideration?
Yes, I did.
Did you account for the office or retail finish that's in the subject property compared to the other property?
The subject property does not have a retail store. It has a desk area where people came in to rent their cars.
Car rental.
Car rental, that's what it was. Okay, so the other per square foot items were, the next grouping down is what these four other buildings sold for per square foot. Again, focusing on the bottom two, I think the other two aren't really worth evaluating for this purpose. One sold for $103.35. The other one, the bottom one on 11 Racket Road, sold for $121.74. Okay, this leads to where we are today. We have an empty building. In fairness here, this property also has a brick structure in the side of the parking lot that houses it's non-space, so to speak. It's like a square unit. No people reside in that at all. It's a server house for Time Warner Cable. They put their servers down there, and they have a long-term lease with the building owner to rent that space to house their servers. In other words, when you have internet, or email. This is Time Warner, by the way. All the information is flowing through servers, and that's where they're housing the servers that pass the information through. So it's a bunch of computer machines sitting there, no people. Okay.
Is the property for sale?
Yes, I'm getting to that part right now, on the bottom.
Now, the server building,
Yeah,
are you paying taxes on it or somebody else?
the owner is paying that stuff. What do you mean by tax, property taxes?
Yeah.
They're paying a portion of the property taxes.
I'm trying to find out. You got a building you're selling.
Yes, that, the whole property is selling.
So if I come along and buy it, I'm getting all.
You're buying that place too.
Yeah.
And the sale price that is on the table as of this past week for the building is 1.85 million. That's the last part of this spreadsheet on the bottom. It has not been agreed to. The first offer made was 1.7 million. They negotiated up to 1.85 million, and this is being offered by Hudson Valley Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram. The conversation going on with the owner of this property is that it would make a good site. It's adjacent to their building, their showroom, and Jeep is bringing out a new product in the coming year. That's going to be a large, real large new Jeep product is hitting the market. And they don't have the space to also sell that new product in the front. So they're looking to take this space, and he said to them that at the current stage, my $1.58, $850,000 price offer is my final. Okay, so that's where we are on this. And if you,
One question.
yes,
Is this considered an arm's length transaction?
yes, absolutely. Yeah, Deborah
Yeah.
is the owner of the property, completely different owner for the Ram. Sorry, Jeep.
Well, the sale hasn't occurred yet. It's not a
It's
sale yet.
signed. It's not a signed deal. So what I'm asking for, keep in mind, this enterprise rent, enterprise rent apartment has been sitting empty for 3.5 years. The only offers that have been made on the property were rental, and they were done by churches that were looking to have satellite units. As you guys probably are aware, office space is kind of in trouble these days because most people are now working from home. So they haven't been getting a lot of people interested in opening a professional office building in that area.
So if I understand correctly, the owner of the property who's looking to sell the
Yes.
property as a CEO of Deborah Birkenstock.
That's correct.
And who's purchasing the property? Who would like to purchase the property?
Hudson Valley Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram.
Is she on the board?
No.
Could I ask a question?
Yeah.
So is that a neighboring property?
It's, they sit on the front, the Dodge Jeep, and they are the second building in,
There's no contract available, is that correct?
not at this point.
This property may have problems because, at least for rental related to COVID, is that not correct? That might be a temporary
That
problem.
well, for rental in terms of the people who are interested in it so far, and again, this property has been up on the market for much longer than COVID. 3.5 years at least, they've been trying to market this product, this home, building. The offer price for a long period of time has been $2.4 million. They paid more for that, or when they bought it back. And it's been sitting there without any viable offer in the eyes of the seller. The last one, she's getting at the point of desperation that she has not been able to move that property at the 2.4, which is, by the way, still 500,000 underneath, but you're currently valuing it by the town. 2.5 to 3, over 3 years at 2.4 million. Is currently valued by the town at 2.9 and change. Unsuccessful at that price. The first viable offer that they've been discussing back and forth, the offer first was 1.7, and now he was said that on a 1.85, and that's my offer.
Thanks, Gary.
That's it.
Can I just mention to the board that Gary and I are negotiating for a possible stipulation? And because of the COVID influence on everything right now, it might be for 1 year only. And we haven't come to an agreement yet, but we would be talking to the town lawyers about that. So I just want you to be aware that we are discussing it for an informal review. Gary, do you wish to withdraw your?
No, I am not withdrawing.
Request for the withdrawal, so we're still going to, we are still doing an informal review on this. And we'll likely do a stipulation, which we would present to the board when we do make an agreement with him. So be aware.
I do ask one thing, although I think that 1 year will be more than enough time to get this sale done. I'm hoping that it happens. I hope it happens next month. However, I would be more interested in saying something like, is it possible to do 1 year for anything that happens within that 1 year, immediate change, and then supposing it leaks over into year 2?
If this property sells, we would, if it is a market transaction, that means that property is selling at the same level as other properties that are similar. We would likely keep the sale price at the market level.
Okay.
But if it sells for, say, 202 million, instead of that 1 million eight to 2
Completely
million,
understood.
then it could go back to the original assessment. We can get the judge, we can get the town to write that up. That's what we're looking for, because there is no sale right now. This is a proposed number, and we don't want to reduce it to 1.8.
I
And
fully
it go up to
understand.
200 and 2 million too. So
I fully understand that.
So we'll have to
By the way,
negotiate.
I spoke to the property owner in between my visiting, and she was open to the idea.
Perfect. I am too.
All right, so that's my, is there any other further questions? I found it interesting that there is such a thing as the building that houses servers, but they're actually underground. They're underground, so it's not something that when they, move out of there, will turn into anything other than maybe restrooms, that's it. So, thank you very much, I appreciate it. Great, thank you, Warren.
Thank you.
Nice meeting you guys.
Take care.
Take care. Oh, would you like to make sure copy of this or not?
No, I have it in my office. Thank you.
This might be the actual Gary Weil original.
Okay, Gary, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
Take care.
Isabel Truth.
Who we getting?
This is Seville. Sybil. It looks like Sybil to me. To leave.
Yes.
To move. Yeah. Colby. Thank you.
Used to own the ice cream factory.
Oh, okay.
DuPont.
Smack dab in the middle, first row. It is an afternoon.
start, someone has to start. You have her? Do you need a new list?
She looked at, and she subsequently hired one of these companies, so she's running that through.
Oh.
Do you need the name, or you good?
No, I'm all set.
Everybody ready? I have to swear you in before we start, okay? Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the information you are about to give will be given accurately and truthfully to the best of your ability? Okay, so you can tell us.
Okay, I have the, I got notified to change the assessment based on the renovation that we started, I believe, in 2018, the fall of 2018. And basically, what we wanted to do was simply rearrange, well, you have my letter, correct? I have my letter. Rearrange those 4 items. We've lived in our house, when we back up, since 1970. We made multiple changes. And there was a renovation, I guess we did in the middle to late 70s, that we lived with for a long time. And decided that we liked what we had, but we didn't like where it was. So with the bathroom, the laundry room, the closet, and the pantry, we needed to have a better flow. We finally got that arranged, we did it. What we started out with is what we ended up with, just in different locations. The majority of the monies that were put on the permit amount was basically labor to change these things around. I do not fully understand why there was a change in the assessment. It's not the Taj Mahal, it's not Kyle. It's basically still very plain, and where we could, we used the same things over again, just in a different location. So I was quite surprised, unpleasantly so, when I found out that what we did changed the assessment of the house. You wouldn't have known you had done this, but for a permit. And since there was a change that would require working on the electric, we went to permit. So basically what I'd like to know is, what are you seeing that increases the assessed value of the house?
Is that a question for me?
Any and all.
As I explained on the phone to you when I spoke to you at length about this, man, I saw that there was a change in your property. I think that there was some kind of an error that somebody misunderstood something and it said add one bath, but it was only a half of a
Well,
bath.
it was listed as a half bath right along, so.
Right, so it was only the addition of a half of a bath. A substantial change was made to that room and it added great amenity, in my opinion, to your house. And therefore, I
It
added
had a
on.
half bath.
Yes, but it went from a half bath to a full bath. did it not?
No, it did not.
Okay, I'm sorry, I'm going from memory here. But the question is that this room was rearranged, it was changed, a door was changed, it enters to the hallway differently. And the room it went from a small toilet to a larger room which enclosed a pantry, your laundry, and the toilet. And that's the change, it went from a tiny little, just a toilet, correct? What else was there?
It was also washer dryer.
Okay,
Now, see, the closet that we had became the half bath.
Is-
Where the half bath.
in that bathroom, is there a tub or a shower, or is it just,
It's the half bath.
it's just a half bath? But the whole room was reconfigured and made larger and has a new entry into the hallway, correct?
The door to the closet is the door to the bathroom. We kept what we had, just rearranged what we had.
So you're saying that you're entering into that bathroom via the same doorway that you entered into the bathroom previously? No,
That
thank
was,
you.
the bath, it was a closet, which is why we needed to do the height change and the electrical change.
So you did height changes of the ceiling, you did electrical changes, and you
No
changed
height
the doorway to
changes,
entry this
no
part?
height changes.
He said
You-
pipe, not height.
Oh, pipe, I'm sorry, I thought you, that's why I said height. I was confused. Okay, so, I don't think that the pipe has anything to do with anything, but the changes that you made a new doorway and a new entry into this different room that had a pantry in it, and that's what you were assessed for, at a very small change. And as I can explain to you what it is that I did, that is what it was. And then you did tell me that there was a value to the change. And what was that number, ma'am? May I ask you again, that you spent on this change to your property?
The permit was for 15,000.
And how much did I change your assessed value to?
Changed it 1,700.
So I will just tell you that 1,700, I have to use my calculator. 1,700 divided by 0.2825 is a market value of 6,000. I did it I made your change based on how I felt this change that you made affected the value of your property overall. And I did not relate it to the actual cost of what you did. It was somewhat related to the fact that it went from a very tiny little toilet to a quite nicely done larger room that gave amenity to your house in a way that I felt it increased its value by a market of 6,000. I would made a $6,000 adjustment. That's the essence of what I did.
I'm questioning why it needs to be changed at all based on the changes.
Real property instructs the assessor to look at improvements, and if there is a change to an increase in the value of the property as a result of a construction item that's done, I'm supposed to adjust the value of the property for said change.
Now, obviously, whether I agree or not, does not impact it.
No, ma'am, I care very much if you agree or disagree, which is why I took so much time trying to talk to you about it. And I'm very sorry that you don't agree that this added 6,000 in value to your house. I think that your house is assessed at, do we have a number?
247.4 is what we have, the assessed value.
Yes, now after this, right? So I think at 247.4, you're well
Not
below
my full value, it's 69.9.
69.9, okay. 249. All right, 69.9. Your house is assessed at $247,433. The change that I made was $6,000, so that your house was assessed at $241,000 before that. This was a very minimal change on your property. And I think, I don't know what the size of your house is off the top of my head, but if you would tell me approximately what your,
I don't know.
do you have something?
I really don't know. I actually, in all honesty,
Do you think-
never measured it out.
So do you think that your property is worth more than 247 or less? Because that really is the question. Did I overassess your property? Yes or no?
I don't see why the changes that we made change
Okay.
the assessed value whatsoever.
Yes, ma'am. I understand what you're saying. Okay, I'm sorry. Do you want me to comment further? Because I would explain further if you wanted to.
Well,
It's up to you.
at this point, we're going around in circles.
No, I'm gonna explain to you. So a half bath, a change of a half, I'm sorry, a change of a half bath is $3,000. I put 6,000 on because I felt that change in the way the room was configured added that much money in value. But technically, for that half bath, it's really our common practice for just having a half bath is $3,000 in assessment. But because of the way that this room now is configured with the pantry and the way that it's, finished and all of the finished items that were in there, I felt that it added more, which is why it got a little bump over the 3,000. But I will just say that typically it would have only been for the 3,000. And I do understand that you had a small toilet there first, but it's not the same as what you did. That's why I made that change.
You're up to know it's the same toilet? I mean, I don't understand your line of thinking. Your line of thinking are not on the same way.
Okay, I understand. Well, I was just counting walls and floors and changing of doors and all of those things that ended up to make that a totally different room. So I don't think it's up to me. Board, it's up to you. I can't say anymore.
Yeah, I understand, you have every right to go. My way of seeing it is that if you disagree, you have the right to come in and the board will determine. Thank you for your coming in, though. I mean, if you don't agree with me, you have every right to come in.
Well, obviously I'm here, I did not.
I understand exactly how you feel. I do, I can't agree with you.
Question. Would you say that the work you did increased the value of the house?
In all honesty, I don't know. Made it more comfortable for us. We were looking at just having it better layout for our own use. I was not even looking at it in terms of what it would do to our sale price. None of that entered the picture. We were looking at it for our own comfort.
I'm sorry, I'm just gonna add one more thing. Due to the inaccuracies of what happens with us sometimes getting things from the building department, I was not aware that it was the very same toilet, and I would make a recommendation to change it to 3,000 increase as opposed to the 6,000 that I put on there based on that and a few other comments that the lady has said to us, the taxpayer has said. So if you wanted to, I would make a recommendation to the board to do it at 3,000 and give her, which is the market value, it's probably half of 1,700, so it would be.
You know what,
850,
3,000?
yeah.
So it would be at 827.50 and assessed value.
That would be okay with me if the board is willing. It's up to you guys. Okay,
We don't do change, it would have to be 848.
it has to be. Okay. But there was substantial change to the property, and you stand by that there should be some change to your assessment because that room is substantially different. Any more questions for me? Or are we good? So, why does this, determination going? They don't do determinations tonight, ma'am, you'll hear from them, I'm sorry, I shouldn't even speak, pardon me. Pardon me, board.
You will, you'll hear from us in about 10 days.
Okay. All right, thank you very much.
Just as a side, are you related to Nicole?
Yeah, would have been nice.
Her and I used to ride together on the ambulance, in the dark ages.
Yeah.
Pulled by horses.
Yeah.
Yes, she is a younger version of me. Thank you.
Thank you.
Right.
Thank you, ma'am.
Jonathan Wood.
I'm so sorry, board. Off the record, sorry. I'm so sorry, board, I didn't mean to speak out, I just forgot for it. Pardon me.
Do we have any photos of the new pool?
Yes,
No.
we'll provide to you.
It wasn't in the packet, that's why.
It's very small.
I don't think that the ladies have the packets totally 100% together at this juncture. You'll get them for that date.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Hi, I'm Jonathan Wolfen. I'm here for my mother Patricia. Property in question is 155 Medical Road, tax map ID at 86812. She suffered a devastating fire earlier this year.
Can hold on a second, let me swear, I have to swear you in first.
Oh, my apologies.
No problem. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the information you are about to give will be given accurately and truthfully to the best of your ability?
I do.
And
Yeah, I have copies of the engineer's report. Looks like you guys have the tax from the assessor's office as well. Here. I see that you have some pictures here. Engineer's report also has pictures of the damage. I'm asking to turn to the second page of the handout. It's just a conclusion, just for brevity. The report from the engineer says that the dwelling structure total loss due to the Hoffa fire will require full demolition except for the concrete foundation. The house is a total loss. We're gonna have to tear it down.
Totally insured?
He has insurance and, given the current state of cost of building materials, labor, it's gonna be a real tight squeeze. So there's, always a little negotiation with insurance companies, but, it's gonna be very, very close.
I want to interject, this is not a dispute here, it just occurred, we were made aware of it after March 1st, so it's in your hands to do it. If this had occurred in February, we would have just changed it automatically, so this is just a procedural issue.
Yeah, so I'm asking you guys for, a little extra, help, given the circumstances and the timing so close to cutoff.
Of course.
Well, I sat in on a couple of the interviews with my mother, with the fire investigator, with the insurance company, and based on what was said, they think that the fire started in the attic, and the fire burned from the top down, and they think it may have been some type of electrical problem that caused the short, we get an arc, and my mom was into crafting, so the attic was full of baskets, all kinds of crafting materials, and it started, my mom told me once she got out of the house and she realized there was a fire, she looked back, the entire roof was already fully involved in the fire. And, I'm just thankful, she got out, and the inspector told me it was not her case. Because she said she saw some embers fall from the ceiling after hearing the noise, banging noises, popping noises. She thought there was someone maybe at the front door. She went to investigate. She saw some embers falling from a vent in the falling ceiling, and then the smoke started to pour into the main living area of the house from the attic, and that's when she exited the house as soon as possible. She when do you think, replacement, rebuilding could, commence?
Based on the conversations I've had with the insurance company, and the builders, they're saying best case scenario, 12 months, but they're saying even that's not likely.
To begin or to complete?
To complete.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. So we're already beginning. We're soliciting bids for the demolition of the house.
So there are tentative plans to, rebuild on site.
Yeah, that's what she wants. That's what my mom wants. She wants to redo.
Any other questions?
Okay, thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Did your mom ever find your tax?
We got one.
Okay.
We got one. Yeah, the one cat that she's missing was an older cat, had health problems. The stress of everything that happened. I set traps and for a month after the fire. I was head cat catcher, and we used the half park traps. And we got one, and he's doing great. He recovered fully. He was a dirty little rascal when we caught him, but he's back in business. He's back himself. But that's small consolation.
I
At
saw her
least a little
posting
something.
on the next door neighbor's page.
We tried. We love those cats more than anything.
Luckily, no one was hurt.
No injuries.
Thank God.
Yeah, it's a miracle. It's a miracle. To the timing of the fire too, fire broke out sometime around midnight. And my mom is a night owl. She's like a teenager. She goes to bed at 2 in the morning. He gets up at 11. And she had
Nice.
she had just finished cleaning up her kitchen. She sat down at her dining room table and read the magazine. Started hanging popping. So I guess that's what she saw. Then some embers falling and then smoke came in. But she was in bed. Where the fire was in the house.
Was somebody else in the house?
I have an older brother. He was in the house. He was in the living room watching TV. Crazy. Yeah. Thank you guys again.
We have 510 for Raoul.
We never got a package on Saturday.
Oh, I think that, Laura was saying that they were waiting for documents from him.
Raoul?
Yeah, he may not have brought the name.
You drive by,
See.
you check it.
We're looking for documents. Okay, guys?
All right, but he's,
Raoul?
there's nothing behind it. How you get? You seen that? Are you listening? Did you go? Yeah, but I slept. The house is crazy.
Yeah, he just brought everything in.
It really made my boss be forced to pay. Oh, thank you. Oh,
Oh, we need lights? Yeah, I guess we do. We're gonna use it.
As long as it doesn't generate.
Yeah. I'm turning on the heat.
Thank you, Laura. Let me see.
Yeah, I have to swear you in. I have to swear you in. You solemnly swear or affirm that the information you're about to give will be given accurately and truthfully to the best of your ability. Okay. Tell us.
First one was, good afternoon, everyone. Please sign up. It seems to brought to my attention that there has been a recent increase in my taxes. There are some mistakes on there that I believe should be corrected. First and foremost would be the fact that I no longer have a pool in there. When I purchased the property in 2019 in December, there was a porch and a pool that we needed for a permit, I believe. But it turns out that, when I purchased it, there was no pool or deck currently in the property. And I also I was watching my attention that they said that I made new renovations, and that's also incorrect. I did not make any renovations. I haven't touched the house, except for some minor details, but in permanent structures or nothing like that. There has been, everything that you see in front of you guys, it's an untouched basically, property. And, yeah, that's basically it. I believe that it's, with the increase in the taxes, it raised my mortgage up to a price that I cannot afford, especially right now in these times. Due to COVID, I'm currently unemployed. Hopefully I'll get back out there soon enough, but for the time being, I'm on unemployment, and hopefully things pick up soon. But yeah, even without this whole COVID, I would still be struggling with the new mortgage rate to provide a roof over our heads, and so that's that. Just look into it, and as you can see, I also have pulled up some houses nearby that are also similar to mine, and it should be their taxes are a lot lower, and the houses are a lot more expensive than mine, and basically, I'm paying a lot more than what I should be, I believe. Basically, all that is up there.
Well, some of the improvements that were noted, what changes were done prior to your purchasing the property?
Yeah, sorry, what was that?
Some of the changes or improvements that were made on the property were completed before you
Yes.
purchased.
Correct.
Is it possible, just possible, that they were never noted by the assessor's office or code enforcement?
It's possible, but from what I have on my files and now on record, it states that they applied for a new bathroom and new kitchen area.
So you think it was already included prior to your purchase?
Yeah, prior to my purchase, I wouldn't be eligible for this property if the bank hadn't cleared it beforehand.
And when you bought it, there wasn't a pool?
No, there was no pool, there was no deck.
Is that an above ground pool, sir?
It was,
They're not assessed.
well, to my knowledge, there was the extra permit and whatnot. I'm not sure exactly. Well, but when I got there, there was no pool or deck.
Is that the area that's circular? There's stone there now.
Yes, it's like a square. Yeah.
Off to the side of the house.
Yes. On the right side of the house and on the left is a stone there.
Okay.
Most of the land there is, uninhabitable. It is a lot of debris, a lot of trees and whatnot. So basically, unmanned territory.
I noticed you mentioned no patio, no deck several times here. Did your increase in assessment show that, or?
In the taxes?
Yeah.
Yes.
Or is it, okay, I'm looking at it.
That's to my knowledge, that's the reason why, when I called in, that was the reason why taxes, and also central air. They installed a central air unit, which it shows you right there on one of the pages, But they said that's the reason why it's increased also.
I don't know what I missed, so I'll interject real quick. Checking our notes here, it's not anything that he did. Apparently, the person he bought it from had bought it on the cheap as a foreclosure in 2017. The previous person had done all these renovations and updates without the permits. So he was, subsequently, he's getting the effects of it, but it was not in that report. It was done without permits by the person who purchased it at foreclosure that resold.
How was he able to close on this house if there were?
If you don't take a permit out, there's nothing's gonna come up when you order the municipals, right?
Isn't there a review for a CO?
Is there anyone from, you had someone from the building department?
Here we go.
It's a very common occurrence that Lori and I have been bitching about for a long time.
No,
People buy the foreclosures, they do fix them up without permits, they resell them at a profit. It's just a lot of work for us to try to follow these and pick up when the work gets done. When it's a permit, it's easy because the building department gives us the permits, we know exactly what's going on. But in this case, when they're done without it, we don't find out until it sells, and then the next buyer is the one who's going to pay the price.
No, I just remember from years ago, my next door neighbor sold her house. And on the day of the closing, she had to find some people to help her tear down the pool deck. In order to
Yeah,
close.
that's very common. Remove a shed, tear down the deck, get the electrical inspection done. I mean,
This didn't
anything
happen.
can happen. Yeah.
So in looking at the notes in our file here, if you guys look towards the back, you're gonna see a description of this property where it twice mentions that the house has been updated and well cared for, and then the second place where it says, upstairs you have 3 nice sized bedrooms and an updated bathroom. So in a couple of places, I'm assuming that in the MLS, that you were informed that this house had been updated. And unfortunately, we need the card to see if there were any changes that had been previously done, because one of the things that he said was that he thought maybe that changes had occurred in the past. So, if you
I don't
would
see
let
any
the board
changes.
know that there were changes.
In addition, you paid $240 for it, right?
Well, my mortgage for now was for $228.
The purchase price was $240 minus your down payment. So even with the increase in assessment that we put on there for all these updates, we're still only at 212. So we're still, even with the increase, we're significantly less than what we paid for it.
What year is that?
Looks like 1999.
So there's been no changes to the assessed value in this property from 1999 until we put the change on there in 2020, sir. There has been no change, intermittent change to your property. If you'd like, you can come look, it's okay. That there was no intermittent change to your property until we did find and see those updates, which were in the public record on Google. And of course, we then went to look and see if we could find some kind of MLS on it, and variety of permits and whatever, and that's why we changed the assessment on this property. But I'm sorry that it's unfortunate, you may not have done it, but the changes have occurred. The kitchen,
Like I said, the value is still significantly lower than what you paid for it in 2019. So it's probably worth a hell of a lot more than what you paid for it right now. So
this was our basis.
we're low on the value, if any.
I understand, that you're upset about it. It's unfortunate, but this is the thing to remember. If you see that something's been updated, you can always call our office. It's imperative that people call the office and find out, because then these kinds of things won't happen. And I'm just so sorry, whenever you're trying to do that kind of a sale, it's good to call the assessment office and just see what's what. In case we don't catch it, or we have no way of knowing if things are done without permit. We have no way of knowing.
Yeah, this is all in new territory.
Very sorry, sir.
Unfortunately, I didn't want to happen. I wouldn't have, qualified for it had, from the bank, had I, just everything worked out the way it should have. But, it's only 250 for me right now. A little overwhelming.
I'm so sorry to have to give you this news, sir, believe me.
On a side note, have you contacted New York State about your star? rebate? Yes, okay. That'll take a pretty big chunk of the hurt off this.
Yeah, it's already,
They calculated that in when they did your mortgage, no doubt, correct?
it's crazy, my mortgage, $395. 1673, to 2009, and especially with this pandemic now. It's been hard on both of us. I'm currently employed, as mentioned earlier. Even if COVID never happened, it still would have been,
Yeah, there'd be a
still
little,
would be, almost impossible to keep up with these mortgage payments. I don't mind paying my fair share of things, of course, we as a law-abiding citizens, we do everything by the books as best as we can to our knowledge. And, it's little tough to take in right now. I feel like, the little guy's getting stepped on, but I understand you guys, it's out of your hands and it's kind of out of my hands also, but, I don't know. It's all new to me. I'm listening to you all, been through this or some point in your life. It's unfortunate that it has happened to me so soon.
I'm sorry, sir, by my figuring, this change to your assessed value probably results in a tax change, your amount of your taxes at about $151 a month. And you're saying that they're charging $300. This is an approximation, but I would carefully, I can't do anything about the assessed value, but I would check and make sure that their escrow that they're charging you is not too much. Because, when I calculated out the amount of the change by approximately 0.13, which is the total tax rate for the whole town, it looks to me more like it should be like $152.
yeah, I'm saying it's
What do you
look,
think?
I think less than that, I think
You
it's
think that he's a realtor?
1,100 a year total, I would think, so they're
So
really overcompensating, that can't be very accurate. And banks tend to do that, they will overcompensate, but
Yeah,
that's
maybe
like
if
an
you argue with
exorbitant
them.
figure.
You can try and get that down a little bit.
Yeah.
That includes the school tax?
My figure includes the
Yes.
school tax, I don't know if it keeps it, but I did, approximately 0.13 times the new assessed value of 60,000. And that gives, and then I divided it up into the number of months, and then it only came out to 151, not 300. So perhaps you need to go back to them and tell them, hey, but again, it's, we can only, we're just doing our testimony, you still have your right to do your testimony, and then the board decides, so.
Okay.
Notify the bank to say, listen, I've been to the board and this is what they said and you're overcharging me.
Yeah, because I have it here, it's stating that it's, the new monthly payment for being, from 1693 to 2090-27.
What's the date on that?
This was recently sent to me. It was, 4/14/21,
So no new tax bill was even issued before that letter was written. You know what I'm saying? The town and county bill would have went out in January, we didn't make the
That's correct.
change until, they wouldn't
You
even
won't
gotten
get your
a
new
tax
tax
bill
bill,
yet.
right, you won't get your new tax
There's a
bill with
mistake
that
there.
number. You won't get your tax bill with that number until September's bill from the school.
Okay.
So,
Like I said, I don't mind paying my fair share. If you guys say that there's an error on here, then I'll
Okay.
definitely.
we think so, we can't make them do the right thing, but,
No, yeah,
it just as an aside, I figured I would check the numbers and see. For your purposes, you may go to the county's website and you can see the history of taxes on this building for the last 13 years, I think we have. Sorry, my mask is slipping. For the last 13 years. And you can go and you can, check the taxes. You can take the assessed value And the tax rates are right on that. So you go into Orange County NY, you can call our office tomorrow, and I'll tell you how to do that. Orange County NY, and you're gonna go into real property taxes. It's on the left side, and then there's a green button that says image mate. You can go on there and you can look at your tax bill. You can look at other properties that are around you that are considered similar by our RPS system. And you can really see what people are really paying for taxes and get a lot of information from there. We will help you if you call us.
All right, definitely will do that to Emma. I appreciate you guys taking the time out and, hearing our plea. I guess I'm gonna have to take this over to the bank now and hopefully, we can work something out. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, sir.
All right.
Welcome to Newburgh. Now we have a plan to do which one is this? It's like 35 to 41.
So therefore, there has to be a point.
Adam Donald? It seems people only affected 19,600. Yeah, I don't believe, does look like it is. Okay. I
Right there,
think
it's
we
fine.
might know about that.
It's too bad, because you know how, when it's only a young guy just looking to make things neat.
It's two.
Yeah. Harold Donald,
Yes, hi.
I have to swear you in before we start. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the information you're about to give will be given accurately and truthfully to the best of your ability? Okay, so then you can tell us.
I've worked in the last 15 years. Check my math book.
Yeah, sure.
The last 15 years, most of the units that have sold have been foreclosures. Some deaths, but mostly foreclosures because one person bought up 27 units. And then they took all the rent money, didn't pay the HOA dues, didn't do any renovations, and declared bankruptcy and walked away. So the only ones that sold for the longest time were foreclosures. And at the time, I didn't know anything about coming to see about assessments. And there were a lot of units that were reassessed. So I'm here because I've been coming, this is my 5th year that I've been here to see the office, and they kept saying, we have your paperwork, and I've called, I've come in every single year, I've called and come in, and no one has gotten back to me about reassessing my units, so that's why I'm here today. I don't know what else to do. I gave a list of comparables of all the other units that, just some of the units that I was able to find, but there's more than that.
Can I ask a question? For her? Pam, what size is your unit?
Excuse me?
I'm sorry. What size is your unit?
One day.
And does it have a basement or any other kind of finished area?
No, it's not a townhouse, it's.
Single level?
Yeah, it used to be an apartment complex and they sold the apartments.
No, I understand that part. And you have one bath.
Yes.
And what's your approximate size? Approximate. 700, 600, 500, 400, 300.
It's not large.
It's typical. Is it a basement level, first floor level, or second floor level? It's the top floor level. Does it have any views? Views. So I would like to just share with the board I don't know that this is a condo. Condos are usually done by a market approach. And I recently had an investor come into our office asking to do a stipulation with me. She had purchased 2 units for 51,000 each. And she wanted me to stipulate with her at 51,000. And I informed her that this is a condo and condos don't go by the sales approach, but they go by the income approach like an apartment. And she gave me her apartment information. I can't share with you what her exact address is, but you're benefiting by the fact that she just finished negotiating with me yesterday, and I signed stipulation with her today in a 612 unit, but she was a basement. So I'm gonna just give you my information and the board can make their determination. She had both units rented. One was rented at $950. There were 1 bedrooms. The other one was rented at $1,000. And typically, you're really responsible to give information for, and my amount is considered correct unless you do otherwise, but you would not know this, so I'm gonna just tell the board. So I did an analysis with the 950 rent and the 1,000, I did 900, I did 1,000, and at 1,000 a month rent, which she was getting in one of the units, that came out with a market value of 65,000. I literally just did this, which is why I can tell you the numbers from my head. For the one that was 900 a month, I came out with a value of 60,000. And that is an assessed value of 16,700 on the one that's 60 and 16,900 on the one that's 60. I'm sorry, one of her units had only 925 and I ended up using the 900 anyway. So that one was 16,700 and the other one was 16,900. So I stipulated with this woman at 16,900 on one and 16,700 on the other. And she was a basement unit, however, and this is a top floor unit. So I'm not recommending a stipulation, I'm just giving this information to the board. And if you guys think that, I think that she's assessed exactly the same as that lady was at the same 19,600. That's why it sparked my memory when I saw the 19,600, and that's what many of the units are at. But I had a 19,600 unit that was a basement unit that I stipulated with the woman at 6,900.
I have a question.
Yes,
Was this a recent transaction?
her transactions were recent transactions.
How recent?
They were from 2020. They were both 2 units that she bought, not living there for investment purposes, and she got them for $51,775. And that says to me that she must have somehow picked up something of the mortgage in there, because usually that, but marked on our computer as non-market, but you know what, that is not atypical with condos. We typically don't
But
consider
could
them.
it have been somehow related to this pandemic where values have gone up and she caught it, maybe thinking that she can make money with people coming up from the city, therefore prices have been inflated and therefore you're poor.
That is possible. When I looked at, what she had done in the 2 properties, and I noted that she did not live there. She was an investor, and these were rented apartments. And one was rented at 900 and the other, no, I'm sorry, 925, and the other one was rented at 1,000. So I thought that, and I looked into the market to see what I thought renters were in Barclay Manor and Par Meadow, which are similar kind of properties. And I don't think they can get to, right now in the market, market rent is 1,400 for a 1 bedroom, but not in those.
I'm getting 875, I'm not getting.
So she's getting less. But it's a top,
And it's not
it's-
renovated, it's got the original
It-
cabinets from 50 years ago.
is that a long-term tenant that you've got there?
It's been there 15
So-
years.
Market rental is in the marketplace right now is 1,400. And market rental in that part, in that place is around $1,000, which is what I used to value that lady's property.
And one tenant I have is, has been there for years, and he's paying. But, not that. And
How many units do you own?
I lived in both of them, they were for my retirement, so, and I gave you comparables. I know several other people that have come in the prior years and got reassessed, and that's why I kept coming in every year. Molly,
I'm sorry, condo owners that get reassessed?
No, she's talking about reduced.
Oh,
I think you mean reduced, ma'am, is that correct?
I'm not sure the right word,
Reduced means nothing, pay less.
okay.
Reduced, the value reduced, the
Yes.
market reduced, yes.
Good, because that,
That's,
their condos. So when I had come in, Molly had said, she would look at it, gave her all the paperwork, you want me to fill anything out? No, we have others that are here. Then the following year, nothing happened, I came in and she said, we're reducing the entire complex, you don't need to do anything. And I said, you want me to fill out any paperwork? No, we're doing the whole complex. It was announced at the homeowners annual meeting that the whole complex was being reduced, or whatever the right word is. And then I came back the next year, and I came back, they said they had my fax. I called, I came in and I called, yes, we have it right here in our hand. And no one ever called me back. I kept calling and coming in every year. So,
I'm not Molly, just so you know, she's not here anymore. I'm the new assessor, so, I don't, I don't know what it is that happened in the interim. But I can just tell you that somebody came in with the same question. Yeah. I don't know what happened, I have no explanation.
well, don't you need New York State approval to reduce? I mean, they established the values in the first place, right? I mean, no?
I mean, you can do, I did an income analysis, I'm sorry, you were out of the office. Yeah, as a reviewer, I did an income analysis for a lady who came in today, I'm sorry, for a formal review, and I was explaining to them that I used the rents that I had been given. I did an analysis, it resulted in a minor adjustment for 19.6, and I gave her a 16.9 and a 16.7, she was 2 basement units. So that's.
Well, my point is that if someone else in her complex has the same exact unit, but is renting it for $1,400 a month instead of her long-term tenant for $9, we can't really have this disparity in values of identical units in the same complex. I mean, the whole point is the identical units should be valued the same way.
Well,
The
and
point
you
I'm
had that
trying to
on top
make,
floor
if
is
I
not.
may make a comment. If you have a tenant during the last, let's say, 8 months.
Yep.
Looking to live 60 miles north of the city and is willing to pay $500 or $600 more for an apartment with 1 bedroom, all right, they're going to do it. So if you have an established owner who is renting to a reliable tenant at an amount that was determined maybe 2 or 3 years before, then how do you support raising that assessment?
I don't.
Okay.
I say if they're identical units, they should be valued identically.
And I say, as a certified general appraiser, sorry, Keith,
All right.
that we look out into the market for what the market value is as of taxable status date, which is March 1st. That's what I did for this property, and I considered the location. I did not consider COVID. I did say that in the greater area for a 1 bedroom, it would be 1,400, but not in Meadow and your Berkeley Manor, right? Not Berkeley Manor.
The reason why I bring this up is because, as you know, values in Orange County and the surrounding counties have just skyrocketed,
Oh, yeah.
all right?
Absolutely.
So, I mean, if the house next door to me, in fact, the one across from me in the town of Newburgh was up for sale for 4 days, and they took it off the market. So, if that house is going to sell and probably have a bidding war, and they get maybe $20,000, $25,000, $30,000 more than their asking price, should I be reassessed?
Absolutely not. I'm not proposing that you would.
And
However,
I
this
know,
woman
not that I
just
want to.
purchased 2 properties, just purchased this year at $51,775. I don't think that kind of appreciation is happening in places like Berkeley Manor, Meadow. And that's why she got them for such a low price. And she can't get the rental, which is the market of 1,400 here, and nobody is getting it. So that is not always the case when you're judiciously determining what is the market value. You have to look in that greater market, and you have to be careful of the information you're using so that you're not getting those kinds of inflated prices for both houses, condos, and even commercial buildings.
Or I've always thought that condos were treated differently in the law than
They
apartments.
are. Well, no, they are treated like apartments as opposed to like houses. The sale price is not reliable, but it does serve as a backup. A sale price serves as a backup for the, for an apartment building as well. But typically, the thing that would be more reliable would be considered the income approach.
No, but what I was thinking, seems to me, and of course I'm old and don't remember,
Sure.
but people would come in from these various condos, you mentioned Farm Meadows, the one I had time,
Mhm.
and they got nowhere with their grievance because they were not representing the whole condo.
So there is that sometimes it's the entire condo, and Keith has brought this up a number of times. But I personally I have not seen anything in grievance I think in order to go to assert, certainly then there is different regulations. But because Board of Assessment Review is a somewhat informal thing, I don't think that there's anything that prevents them from coming to you guys. However, unlike other houses, which could go to assert, I don't think that condos, I don't know if they could go to small claims, and I don't know if they could really go to assert. They might be able to. I mean, honestly, to tell you the truth, I'm not sure how to answer your question. I have never had any problem with making adjustments in all of the years that I've worked as an assessor, if it was based on the income approach, not the sales.
We have had people who were owners of us that were not resident, that wanted their taxes reduced, and we couldn't do it because it was not.
Scott, you can't go to Scott unless you're an owner occupier.
I mean, it could be that I'm, I'm not right about that. I would have to do more research into that. Because honestly, to tell you the truth, I've never, I come from, I was working in the city of Yonkers, which was a big town. And we had hundreds and hundreds of people that were in co-ops and condos that came in and protested and grieved, and they got reductions. And then I came to Blooming Grove, which we don't even have a co-op in our town. There's no co-op. I don't think we have co-ops here either. We only have condos here.
Plus it's cold in the winter.
Yeah, so we don't, I just did the way that I did when I was in the city of Yonkers. And it could be that cities and towns have different regulations, and that might be why I'm wrong. That was Westchester County. This is Orange County. These kinds of things, the laws can be different from county to county. It might be that I've always been mistaken, but I always felt comfortable knowing. Keith brought this up to me, honestly, I gotta say, he has. I don't know what the answer is. I've always felt comfortable as long as I did it based on the income approach. And that's why I offered that lady today a change. I've never seen anything that says they have to do the whole complex.
Well,
In order to
you're
for
100%
us
right.
to increase, for us to increase a value, we have to do the whole complex. We can't do just one, but for every taxpayer has the right to leave their taxes, as far as I know.
You're 100% right with the appraisal aspect of it. The assessing aspect of it is that you're not supposed to have identical properties in the same complex that are unequally assessed.
Well, we have
So if you reduce her, then every other unit in the complex that's identical to hers needs to be reduced as well, because why should they be paying more than her and vice versa?
Well, if they're close,
Okay, yeah,
but
there
if
shouldn't be a
they're close.
disparity between identical units in identical complex. She, as a point, a basement apartment is gonna have a different value than a top one, but two houses next to each other that are identical, two condos, they need to be valued the same way.
Generally speaking, they are, but condos can differ from condo to condo. What if condo A comes in and they've done a gut renovation to this apartment and it's got a brand new kitchen and everything has been redone? It's not going to be assessed the same way as what you're saying. And if they have a townhouse kind of condo and they finish the basement, that has a different value. So these things, you can't, for us, the law says we can't raise them up unless we raise everybody. Generally speaking, that's where the whole town is, unless there's work done or something that is captured by building records.
Or,
Or by visual inspection, or however we get our information.
when your son looked at it, the only other alternative is the income approach.
That's why I used it for this other lady, but her apartment happens to be exactly, seemingly very similar to this lady, except for she was a basement unit. And she was also in Berkeley Manor. She was a basement unit, both of them, and this lady's a third floor unit. She's slightly superior. So,
Your top floor, with two,
There's only 3 floors in the
three
building.
floors, so now you're saying, well, it's top floor better than the bottom floor.
it is, a basement unit is always considered inferior to an upper floor.
So the people that have 20, 30 units that are identical to mine are paying less than I am.
I don't think so. I think most properties are assessed right at what you are, Miss.
No, I sent in a
16,900.
copy. I sent in a copy.
There are some that have less and there are some that have more. Right now, in the Berkeley Manor, there are probably the 3 main assessments that I've seen. There are some that are 13, 14,000. There are some that are at 16,000 and there are some that are at 19,000. And these are not all the same units. They're not all the same size. They don't all have the same view. And those are the kinds of things that affect condos. So I don't know what your property has compared to their properties. We would have to do a report on each and every one of them to see why. It could be that there was reductions that were done by cert case when it was groups of properties in the past. And just because someone else has something lower than you doesn't mean I'm gonna lower you to what they are. That I can't do and I would not do. It's not appropriate. That's,
And also keep in mind, if you're looking up on the county records, that different people have different exemptions. Those exemptions reduce their value. So you could be looking at an apartment that's owned by a senior who's getting a significant reduction. So there are, I'm just giving you an example that how they could vary identical units.
Well, there's one owner that owns over 27 units. And I gave a list of some of those units, and the ones in the building, and he has.
you may have gotten a reduction as a result of the cert, but I'll just say this, unfortunately, assessments have very little say in what happens when things go to a cert case. These kinds of determinations are made at the court, and there are substantial negotiations. I can only do a simple income approach, tell you what I think your unit is worth, and make a recommendation to the board. They have the right to do whatever it is that they need to do with the information you're providing.
Like, I don't think city people, it's not the type of complex that, they would want to live in. It's changed quite a bit over the years. Because it's not like Riverview, it's on a faces, and it's not a fancy complex. It was an apartment building, brick buildings that were just made into apartments. It didn't start out being apartments.
No, I understand.
Any questions? No, I don't. We'll see, we're gonna, we meet again.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Okay, 5:58.
Oh,
I
that's,
thought we had a 5:30 with O'Donnell.
That was me.
that's not her.
Oh, that's you. So sorry, ma'am. Okay. So I think that's it for the first session. I don't think we have anyone else now, so we have our 6 to 7 o'clock break. Do you guys want to end the session for now?
Yes.
We can adjourn.
You have to meet.
Did you have to hit the hammer?
Okay.
Well done.
Okay, they're recording us now, Matt, guys. Is this working now? Is this working now? Did you hear me?
No, it might be.
It went out again. If they,
You actually don't have to hold it.
oh, is that what it is that I'm doing wrong? Hello? Check? Hello? I don't know.
They don't
no.
like you.
They don't like me. Technology does not like me. I will say it. It's true. Hello. All right. Hello.
Just use your outside voice.
Will do. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm gonna stop. Sorry, everyone. Pardon me. Right. Are you ready? Go have at it then. Start the meeting. We're good, we're good.
Are you ready? I swear you. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the information you're about to give will be given accurately and truthfully to the best of your ability?
My name is Robert Vivencio. We represent Adrian Tile. In their mostly New England portfolio. And Peter Lotta is the CEO of the company, had asked me to take a look at this new valuation. I'm sorry, I got it just this week, so I had a number of conversations with Mr. Lotta and people that developed it, et cetera. So what we have here is the existing LTL truck company. And Mr. Lotta purchased a 2.8-acre parcel of land. Okay, and you can see that the last page breakdown on that land. So this actually has not happened, this expansion here, got room, but it's not.
We're not talking about that.
This is what.
Give them a minute, they'll have to find it.
Truck terminal.
So I think it was the last page, sir.
But I see it coming up on the- there it is, I got it.
So he paid, Mr. Lotta paid $560,000 for the 2.8. And with that, he built, he excavated it, added the parking spaces for the trucks and for his employees. And built a 3-bay maintenance building for, maintaining his trucks and trailers, right? One of the bays has a wash bay. So Mr. Lotta paid $7 million, in excess of $7 million, paid $7,482,000. You can believe it, to build this, okay? We're content, all right? And I'd like to bring your attention to the spreadsheet. Spreadsheet of all of the properties that I reviewed. And if you go across, the value per square, this property is on the bottom. Okay. Go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, across value per square foot. Value the town of Newburgh has this in at $9,992,566 for the existing building and the improvements. That's $307.11 per square foot. If you go up, you can see all of the other values for units, all right? The larger ones are the small 16 and 17 door units in Maine and Western Vermont. The smaller building, the higher the unit value. This property has a total square footage of 32,537 now. Okay, so it's as much as a 91,000 square foot building in North Carolina, in terms of value. All right, we value these, if you go at the end, per door, okay? And as you can see, this is 178,439 per door, which is almost, more than twice that the same North Carolina property has per door. All right, so something's not right, as you can see from these numbers, all right? I don't know, I have not had any conversations with Ms. Cody. So I'm not quite sure what she did. I'm assuming she took the $7.2 million and added it to the existing structure to come up with the $9,992,000 or something close to that. We're contending that the cost of the improvements, the cost to the land, doesn't translate dollar for dollar. It'll just never sell in the open market for $9,992,000, $10 million. So what had happened was, I'm saying that there's no other buyer. Mr. Lotter was a contiguous parcel. We needed it for the operation of the business. Really, no other buyer would spend, that kind of money for the site. It's almost $2 million for the site. And plus another $560,000 for buying the parcel. So we would pay $2.5 million for the cost of the land before any deal. Just doesn't make sense from a market perspective for anybody other than Mr. Lot, who owns, who has a contiguous parcel with the LTL truck stop. Right? The site over improvements add something to the real estate, but probably more like 25 to 40% of the actual costs. Okay, the overbuild is structure. All right, you tilt up concrete, and here you can see some of the things that make it super active down below. All right, I'm on the salient points. Okay, salient points. First page. Sorry, first page is the complaint. It's the third page. So summary says the points. Yes, sorry about that.
While they're looking at that, what's the enjoy at the appraisal? It's in the process of getting the appraisal.
Well, I thought I had a couple of weeks to have this year, so
Oh, I didn't know if you were getting one regardless.
Well, we're gonna have to, yeah, we will.
I mean, you put a value down on here, is that the value that you guys wanted to, you think that it's worth 5 million?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's high, but you know what, for the cost they have in it, when you break that down, it's still,
I mean, it was assessed at $3,008,041 in 2020, when you combine those two parcels together. I don't think that anyone made any kind of a grievance about the value when all of those lots were joined together. So is it because it was an oversight, or, because that's the value that we have for 2020. 2021, let's see if I have 2019.
I have 2019. 2019 was, the assessment was, 831,720, which translates using the 32.20 ratio to 2,583,000. I used that figure because that was the prior building as it existed. I didn't know what the 2020 value was.
The 2020 value is the joining of the two lots together with the existing building.
Just, that's it. And didn't include any?
That was
excavation?
I believe that was before any of the work that was done on that property was.
See, that's what I didn't know. But why would that assessment go up when you pay $750,000 for the land?
We added the assessed values of the land together to the existing assessment and did not do a revaluation in that year, waiting to see what the taxpayer was going to do. It was an apportionment, and apportionment is just joining two lots. There was one lot, there was another lot, joined together for the new year. So that property,
So it went from 1.150, that's all went from.
Whatever the assessment-
2,583.
I don't know, it could be that there is some land value in there. I would have to go back and look at my notes. As far as I can remember, I do believe that, I don't know when this construction started. I will have to look back into our permits and stuff. But no, my point being, you guys got a letter of change and you did not protest the assessed value in 2020. And I'm just curious as to why.
Because I normally don't handle this property.
Well, the owner's got a letter.
The owner, yeah, he did.
Okay.
Okay, we didn't appeal. But
You
we're doing
didn't.
this. Because now-
Usually it's, as an assessor, I would just assume if someone doesn't protest my assessment, that means that they're okay with the assessment. So that means that we have to find an established value of $3,841,400, not the $2,008,000 that you're saying, because that's the assessment on 2020 that was unchallenged. So that's why I think we should start at that number. If you want to discuss, where you're at, I think that is clearly a number that's in the record. Would you like a copy? Maybe we can have a copy of it. You can see that that's in the record. Yeah. You can have that. I'll have my system.
We didn't realize what that number was. Or I didn't when I first looked at it.
It could be that there is a partial for the building in there. We will have to do more. We would have to do more research, but the point being that we get a letter saying that there's been a change to the assessed value, which you have not said that has not happened. And in that year, no question was raised as to the assessed value. So that's really the starting point of where we're at. And of course, all things going forward are subject to whatever discussions we have. I'm just saying, you're talking about $2 million, yet I have an assessed value at $3 million. So that's just what the facts are. We'll have to see going forward, but
I mean, I just.
I'll give you a copy for your information.
No, I like that. I'm just curious to see why it went up $1,300,000 when they paid $564. Yeah? You're the assessor, so I mean.
I've answered that question. Did you not hear me? I'm sorry, let me repeat it. The reason why the assessed value changed by that much was because there was an apportionment. Two properties were joined together. Each one had an assessment, and those assessments were simply added together, and nothing else was done on that property because it was an apportionment.
So that one piece of land that we paid $560 was actually more than that? I can hear you. You don't have to press the button.
Oh, you can't, okay. So I don't know, because it's next.
Yeah.
It could be, as I said, that some land value was added onto it for the partial construction that was done. That's possible,
But the point is that a letter is sent. If you agree, then you do nothing. If you disagree, then you file a grievance. And no grievance was filed for the 2020 year.
Okay.
So we're have now, the next year comes up, and we've got this humongous building, and we're up at a different value, which, so it's from 3.8 million that I started with, I added a building that you guys said you paid $7,400,000 to build. Is that correct? And I'm only at 9 million. You had 3.8 million start, and then I added another 5 million and change. And that's how we got to the 9 million. We asked the question, does that answer your question? Do you understand what I'm talking about?
Yep.
That's how we got to that number.
Okay. And you had conversations with, you had the cost, the ABI information, you had the cost that Mr. Latta had sent you, right?
Absolutely, thank you, yes. Not all costs were explained, though, and I think some explaining needs to be done.
Okay, if I can, I'll do it.
Great.
So what I did was I took the building at $205 a square foot. It was based upon the Marshall and Swift numbers. Right here, the 8533 building. All right. I used 205 as a read down because one of them is a wash pad. And again, it's a superstructure. I mean, anybody else who wouldn't build a building like this, it'd be a Butler building, you know? So I use the 205 and I'm coming up with a value of $1,749,265 for the maintenance building. All
Is
right?
that the new building? I'm sorry.
That's a new building.
That's the brand new building.
And a lot of the excavation costs, he ran into some problems. Little stumps, et cetera. And so it came over $1,963,000 on that first page of my salient facts, all right? I'm using $1,001,035. And then I used the $2,583,000 to come up with my $5,033,033 value, which again comes out to a unit value of comes out with a unit value of on the spreadsheet still. So I come up with
So you came out with $5,000,000 for the new building,
for the whole bill.
for the new building and the old building?
Yeah.
So when did you add on for the old building? Is it in that chart? Can we, when we look at it, will we see that original, the
The
value?
original value when I
For
did
the, yeah, for the,
I just
for the
explained
older
what-
building.
the older building, I used the 2019 valuation because that was it. That's what I used, $2,583,000.
That was on that building.
Right, on the existing building. I took the excavation of $1,001,035. All right, even though it cost $1,009,000, again, there were some other issues with the excavation, with stumps in the ground. Again, the paving, the walks were concrete, et cetera, it's just overbuilt on that. And then for the wash building, based upon Marshall and Swift, I used 205 a foot, right, for the whole building, so I came up with it, and this is the $1,749,265. So I'm at $533,300, okay,
For both buildings.
for everything.
So where is the rest of the, if they spent $1,700,000 on building this whole building, where is the other $6 million? And what is it that they built with that $6 billion?
It doesn't translate to that.
So there's something that hasn't been mentioned in what you're talking about, and that is the electrical switch hookups. They have like 20 odd electrical. So how much did it cost to build those? There's no mention in that, any of the paperwork that we gave me. We're very interested to know what those
those attached and fixed, electrical hookups that the trucks hook into, what those are meant for and what they cost. Do you have a number for that? Because,
I
you know,
don't,
with everything going electric these days, you know, having a building that's got 20 places for 20 trucks to hook up, I dare say that would be a substantial amenity for any owner, especially if all trucks are going to be coming at some point, which I've read many articles, got quite a bit of research on, are going to become electric. So I need to know before I can say yes or no for values, what is the value of that portion of it, which really, they didn't give me any information, I mean, it was left off. So I have a question about that. And I see you've also similarly left it off in your description of all of the improvements and costs.
Yeah, that's what it's going.
Okay. Okay, I think that would be helpful, because, you know, there's the cost of what that adds to a property, and there's also the value that adds to a property, which if everybody goes away from gas and is having to plug their trucks in, that would be a substantial value to a property owner. So I do have a question about it.
now.
Talking about right now, that's right, right now.
You
That's
don't
right.
have any electric trucks right now.
No, they don't, but I'm sorry, but they have 20 hookups, which they do plug the existing trucks right now in, and they are using them as I was told, presently. So yes, there is some kind of interest in what that is, especially when there's a discrepancy of $6 million in costs. So that's what I'm here about. I'm here because I put, okay,
Okay.
I think that would be helpful. We would appreciate it.
Okay, yeah, I get that, I wasn't, I didn't really go line for line through that EDI.
I would really be interested in seeing the entire costs of this building. $6 million is a large, you've calculated 1,700,000, and you know what? I'm a little bit different than you, but I'm not that different. I'm not $6 million different, like what you're saying from what they put in there to what is there now. So I think that, you know, just before we put an assessment on it, we'd like to see what's really there.
Well, let me just read something that Mr. Lotta sent me initially first, okay, because that 7.428, whatever that number I just gave you was.
Okay?
We purchased 2.8 acres of abutting land on the site we own, which is existing LTL cross-dock, office, truck parking, and employee parking areas. On the purchased 2.8-acre tract, we constructed a truck repair shop, 8533 square feet, and additional truck parking at a cost of $7.482 million. I'm sure that's the total amount.
That they spent on building it, and I'm not saying it's worth that. I attributed $5 million to the building, that to what I put onto the value based on what I thought the improvements were on that property. I did not use the $7 million. I wasn't able to substantiate it. I didn't think that it was right. But I didn't think that the 1.7 million, I thought the 1.7 million is closer to at least what I am at. And then I did attribute values for these charging stations.
But they all plugging the trip. They're at all of these locations here. Okay, do they add value?
Are you certain of that? Have you verified that?
Yes. Yes,
Well,
I thought you were talking about something like the Tesla cost.
Charging station.
Yeah. Well, there are charging stations there. We saw them.
Right.
So we don't know what the extent is. We don't know what they cost. We don't know what they.
They're in that
Are
$7.8
retail?
million. Okay, they're
Yeah,
in
they
that
are,
$7.8
but how much? Okay, so then can we do the one building for $7.8 million and be certain that we're at the right number, and we can look at the value of the existing building differently? Because maybe the problem is the value of the existing building. I don't think that's correct, but I had a question and I put a value on my this property in our town based on the things that they reported to me and what my investigation in the field, which included these charging stations and what they may be, you know, valued for. So that's basically it for us now. But I would love to see every single thing that you guys have put in there, because that's a big difference. You're asking us for an exemption. Your company filled out an application for an exemption, and the exemption is 1/2 of the $5 million in value I added on there. That's $2,500,000. So in return for that, I think that it's not incorrect of us to ask for what exactly did you do? Like, is that 7,400,000 a fluid number? Is it the real number? Because we gave you an exemption based on 50% of that increase. So I'm asking for me to, if you're saying you want a reduction, you go before the board, you can do that. But this is, you're saying that what I'm saying makes no sense to you, but
you know these numbers don't make sense. You know these numbers don't make sense, you know, I mean, we're looking
I
at.
know that $7,400,000
I was
makes
shocked
no
as
sense
hell
at all.
when I saw that figure. I couldn't believe it.
I agree with you there.
They built a service and they paid $7.4 million. But beyond my comprehension as well. But
Believe me, I
again,
agree.
we're looking at this truck stop that is like 3 times the value of any other truck stop on this list.
Well, we're at an age of technology, and technologies are changing. And I want to know that I'm putting the right and correct value on this property. That's all I'm looking for is answers. And the answers can be easily found in a detailed cost. We're going to request more information. I mean, there's just no two ways about it. We need more. You can't just leave me like that at all. They did it and you did it too. I want to know what you guys put into that building that cost $7,400,000. So I know that I'm assessing it correctly. I will be the first one to admit if I'm wrong. That's fine. Anyway, I'm not going to say anything more. I'm willing to listen to anything. I explained it to you. You need to give us more information, please. Thank you.
Question I would like to answer is plug-in units to block heaters. In the winter, it's a diesel truck. You have to keep the blocks to make them fire. Not a recharging of the engine, but it sounds like a block heater.
Let's see, there is something here, backup power systems, generators. Yes, $100,000, HVAC, type systems, traditional lights, backup power systems, generator.
Again, if that's a block heater, you need that.
Yeah, here we go. So it says here, after paving, walk with first 10-inch apron around shop. We do that, remove asphalt paving the doors to provide heavy truck braking action that will hold time to plow the asphalt. Extra electrical site work for snow scraper to remove snow from trailer roofs, actual scraper owned, not bought for this job, and electric for engine block heaters. That's really good.
They're block heaters, they're not recharging the truck. They're winter heaters that make it easy to fire. Yeah, they gotta boom the engine.
So how much did they pay for them and is it real
Oh, I
property?
don't know what they cost, but I know what they are.
$7.42 million. It's all included in that number. I'll get you a better breakdown.
Cost estimate would be great.
I'll get whatever information you're looking for. Because like I said, I know that you know that it's not going to go about 2.8%.
I agree. That's what really caught my attention. And with technology the way it is today, just like with the telecommunications now, it's electric, it means different things. It means a lot of things can be going on. My interest is the interest of the town of Newburgh. My interest is to make sure that those things are assessed correctly. And that's what I'm interested in doing, whether it be that I made a mistake or not. If it is a mistake, I will correct it. But there's more information that needs to be given so that I can make the correct judgment. I can put the value at what it is now, sir. However, I cannot bring it up or increase it. I can only reduce it. So
if you do reduce the value now,
it wouldn't be me, it's gonna be the board.
reduce the value, based upon what I showed them in terms of that, could reduce some. And then,
If the way that it works with the Board of Assessment Review, when we have a proper understanding of what is going on and we see that there has been, if something is supposed to be corrected, we can do that. We absolutely can and will. But
This is a new technology, and in the interest of, I mean, I will just say this, I'm gonna make it a matter of record, and I probably shouldn't. I may regret that I did, but I saw everything from 15,000 per charging to 200,000 per charging. And I have no idea where you are. And I have no idea exactly how that's gonna equate to value, but I do know that if, as they are changing and as our things are more reliant on the electrical, and we are relying on it even now, there are many cars that are being done that way, that it's a new technology and it could be it's quite a bit of money. And that is a portion of what I included in my value, so, among other things.
Thank you for clarifying that.
I just want you to help me to make it right.
Help you, if you help me, and, I'm just curious, the year we didn't challenge this assessment, I'm just curious to see what's in that number. I know you told me.
Look,
that
I
it's
have
contiguous.
documents, I'll be glad to share that with you. I told you probably more than I really should. I don't really want this to be a court case, sir. That's how it frequently ends up. But I want to make sure that the interest, my job is, I'm an assessor and I'm a real property appraiser. But my job is the interest of the town to make sure that you are charged as everyone else should be, by your market value, by what these improvements add to your value. And that's all I've been trying to do. And I had a very big hard time reconciling 7.4 million to what you did in that size building. And I realized that it is 303 a square foot. I think that's the number that you said.
Yeah.
But, you know, there's more to it than just that. Just that it is not just only a truck terminal. That is not what it exactly is. And so we're sure what it is, and we don't really have a right number. The information will help me to give you an answer.
It is what, just not a truck terminal.
It's not just a truck terminal.
It's an LPI
And
bus stop,
and-
similar to everything else in here.
It's a truck terminal and charging station. So
If she's talking about it, I'm gonna find out exactly what
Find
that
out.
conversation is,
I-
get that to the front.
excellent, excellent. Thank you, sir.
You and I have discussions.
I absolutely will talk to you. Remember though, that I can make recommendations to the board, but the board makes the decision of
Understood.
what's going to be done.
Okay, sir?
Question. This place is located on Corporate Boulevard. It says here.
Yes.
Is that in what used to be Stewart Field?
No, it's on past the old field, Fuller Manor. Out on 17K where the place with all the sculptures and what's that?
Okay, okay.
All the trucking companies, two piles is down.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Talk to me about it tomorrow. Let the board, let them get their questions in and stuff, because I can talk to you at any time.
I'm sorry. I'll get you a bunch of information. I'll give you everything that I have. You already have everything I have. I'll
Okay,
make sure that, you know, we can describe what those other things are.
you need to talk to the
So
board.
everybody feels comfortable with that. Listen, the last thing we want to do is go to court, obviously. We want to get the number right as we do. Okay? And hopefully.
Determined to do so.
Yeah.
If it
Yeah.
means that we have to go to court to find out, then that's the way it will be, but I'm very willing to listen to anything that any taxpayer has to say.
And so you value this whole thing based upon the cost of roads. Everything's cost.
No, not necessarily, because there's also that income value. That, I mean, I don't know what the end result is. With new technology, we don't know what will happen in the future, but we do know right now that you can hook up a whole bunch of trucks there and trucks from all over the place. And I don't know if you don't know if you're gonna be charging people or not charging, or if you're charging now, if these guys that work for independent contracts with their employees, we don't have any of that information. We just have some cost approach. Then I looked into the technology and they said, holy moly, it's used in a lot of different ways. And it can be used for income. So that is why there is such a question. We do market value based on cost, income, and market. And there's not that much similar to those constructed buildings. There are no buildings like that, which is why A. Dewey Powell had to construct one. Because they couldn't just buy one and go into it and use it. They had to make it, and it cost them $7.4 million to do so. So I understand.
This is historic.
I
Where they
understand.
maintain the trucks and the trailers.
I understand. There's a difference between, I know that there's a difference between business value and real estate. But there is real income value that is possible from this kind of construction, and any informed buyer and user would, of course, be interested in doing so. So I have not made up my mind of what I think about the value of this yet. More research is done, and I need more information, and I can't just, say, can you tell me, people don't want to tell you. But now you have to tell me, because you need to tell me so that I can make my determination correctly.
No problem getting all the information I
Thank you, sir.
I have no problem getting that information. We're at $7.14 million.
Yes, sir. Thank
Which
you,
is a
sir.
crazy number.
Believe me, I will work with you.
Can I, do you have, how you value this thing?
Sorry, that information is not available. Census notes are not public information. I explained to you though. This is being recorded. You'll be able to get a copy of our recording. It's going to be available on our website for all people.
Yeah, were those unique improvements to this place something that you found in Marshall and Swift?
Yeah,
Yeah?
yeah, they had the standard, and they had, $123, and then they had an excellent value, which is high.
Which you.
And then we added in the truck day, because that was rather costly, and that brought it up to $205 a square foot.
We got the Marshall and Swift.
Well, thank you for your time. I very much appreciate it. I'll get any other information that is required, and
Thank you.
we'll take it from there. I'll be in touch. I'll get that information to you tomorrow.
I'm available 8:30 to 4:30, 5 days a week, sir.
You guys have to share.
No copy. This is the new one. I just walked in. None of us have seen it yet. Pardon?
We have any new people?
This one I just gave
Any
you.
more than that?
No, just this lady, just gave them. Gave them out. I need to see the last guy's application.
If you want it, you can take mine back.
No, no,
No, you don't need it.
Jan's, not that one, the last guy.
Oh, okay. From before, the earlier Friday night? Oh, okay, sorry, Laura.
Yeah, front and center.
Are you, this guy, Kedar?
Marcy Real. Can you spell your name for
Okay.
me? MARCIRHEAL.
I'm gonna have to swear you in because, right? Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the information you were about to give will be given accurately and truthfully to the best of your ability?
I do.
And just, tell us what your grievances.
Sure. So, a couple of years ago, we did this as well, and when I had called, I'm pretty sure I spoke to the assessor, and she had asked me a bunch of questions about our house. It's on Candlestick Hill Road, there's a bunch of newer houses on the bottom. My house is not one of those houses. She was asking, is there cathedral ceiling, which there is not. Is there floor ceiling windows? There are not. Like all these upgraded things. My house is just a standard house. So they reduced by assessment just by a little bit, but now it's over and above in 2 years where it was before. So I just don't understand what's happening here. I went on your own website, the assessor website. I didn't pick the comps, the computer picked the comps for me. And if you look at all the comps, the market values are completely different. Mine is way over all these other houses. I mean, mine's at full market value, 493. This other one is 440, 415. And on the second page, 387. Now there's this house, 6 Jessica Court. It's a brand new house. I've been by it a million times. Bigger than mine. Obviously brand new. There's an extra half bath. I printed out the thing from the realtor.com. I mean, this thing has the floor to ceiling windows. It's like the gourmet kitchen. It has everything you don't have. It just goes on and on and on and on. It's all the upgrades. So I just don't understand how my house can get the same market value as this house. This house, they were trying to sell for $850,000. I mean, we'd be lucky if we got 450. It's just a whole other, this house is in a whole other ballpark.
Which house is that?
This one.
Oh, yeah,
6 Jessica Court.
that's insanely
They
overpriced.
have it on the market for 600 or for 850,000.
Yeah, well, a lot of people have called up asking why that one's so high.
Okay, yeah, and the market value on this house and my house is the same. It's
Yeah.
just my house is nothing like that. Mine's a standard house. It's not even a custom house. We had it built, but it's not, we had somebody who used the same plans. We didn't go crazy with any interior options.
Yeah.
I don't understand how mine's assessed for this house.
When did they put that house on the market for that price?
This one is built in 2019. They just put it on, I think, a couple months ago.
Yeah, it just sold last year for
Yeah.
500 something, they put it back right back on the market for 800
Oh,
something,
okay.
so they're trying to take advantage of the crazy market.
Gotcha. This is in my area. This was one of the comps that came up from your website. So it's not, these aren't even the same things I handpicked, like your website handpicked. I just don't understand, these are similar houses. The only difference between my house and these other houses are I have more land from what I see, but some of these other houses, this one's bigger, this one has an additional half bath, this one's much larger. This one, the one on the second page, 34 Harcourt Cosman Drive, similar age and size to mine, and it's valued at 387. It is on a slab, which mine is not. Mine's on a basement, unfinished, of course.
Did you buy yours on the open market on the MLS, or did you buy it privately from the builder?
No, we brought it from the builder. We built it.
Oh, gotcha, okay,
Yeah, we built the house. So we bought the land and then we built the house.
gotcha.
But it wasn't one of those huge custom houses, like, just has the regular stuff in it.
Right, so if you look at the property record card, I see that there was a value on it at 339 in 2010, and then it was reduced in 2017 to 160,200, and then reduced again in 2018 to 147,900, and then I see an increase in 2021. Did you do work at the house?
No, we haven't done anything. We actually didn't even finish the house, but the outside, we never even did any improvement. We
Well,
don't even
the-
have landscaping, we don't even have a front walkway, we've done nothing.
The notes in the system, your notes in the system say, construction is complete.
Yeah, definitely.
So
Did you get maybe a C of O or something? Did you get a building department
Oh,
come out?
when we built it in 2016, yeah. We haven't done anything since. And we built the house, we haven't done any interior improvements, nothing's changed, just like it is.
I'm gonna go pull the folder, just see if
Pull
there's
it.
any.
Yeah, we'll take a look.
Okay.
Yeah, I seem to remember that we did talk, and I seem to remember that I did give a reduction on this property possibly in the first year that I was here, because from 2018 until 2021, there was no change. So did you ask for a reduction based on the fact the building was not
A couple
complete?
of years ago.
That was you.
No, no,
based on the-
no, it was
Not
completed.
complete.
No, it was completed. My husband came here after our house was completed, and he came to this board, and you guys did lower a little bit, I think from 160 to 147. That was in 2017, and he must have came, or 2018.
2018 is when it came.
Okay, so he came in 2018, and it went from 160 to 147. I guess.
Well, it says here that it went to the Board of Assessment Review. So that would mean that the board gave that reduction to the 147,900. But I thought for some reason that it was based on the fact
that the property was not complete.
No, when he came here, it was definitely 100% complete. We had our CO, everything was done.
I talked to a lot of people, so my recollection is not good, but we will look at our notes and that will hopefully shed some light on this. Is there any work that was done after 2016? Did you finish your basements? Did you do anything with porches?
Nothing. Everything is exactly how it was in 2016 when we built it.
It could be that the C of O was just delayed and I just got it, but I don't know. I'm gonna have to look. And so you say though that you feel that your property is over assessed. Right now with the current assessment, it is an assessed value of 160, which is a market value of, I was gonna ask that question because always.
Full market value is 493.8.
Speculation. We got it, got it.
Where's that coming from?
It's my last price. That's why I thought that was here. I can't remember, I cannot remember what happened from here to here. There was a reduction by the bar or assessment. And here is where I thought that it was based on the fact that the building was not complete.
Yeah.
And then I got the certificate of occupancy, which is dated October 4, 2016. And then,
My husband came after that.
hold on, let's see if there's anything else that's coming up. There's another one certificate of occupancy now in 2017, because I guess obviously it wasn't complete in 20.
Do you remember 18, the board just reduced your, not because you were incomplete, just because.
My husband been up and came to this
Okay,
session here.
gotcha, all right,
Yeah, we weren't complete. He came here and he talked and
okay.
So I see where you put the solar panel in, and that's why you got
that,
to change
that
in
was in
2017, and that
2016.
is not value camp. So don't worry, that did not have anything to do with it. I'm just saying that there was work done. And now we've changed the value, because in my mind, I was changing to a full value, and that's 160. And you think that the property is worth only 450,000? That's not the original 147 that you were granted. Now you're looking for more of a reduction. You think it's worth less now than it was when you got the reduction
What
to
were you looking
147?
for in 2018? What did my husband fill out in the paperwork that he was looking for?
Well, you know, I don't know, but I would just say to you that do you think that the house is only worth 450,000?
At this time,
Because I don't think that's correct.
we don't have any,
That would,
things saying different.
this would have been the market value at the equalization rate of 2018.
Okay, so then I would be, if we put it back to what it was there, then that
It would be-
reflects the changes that happened in the marketplace. But to ask for 450, I don't think that's a correct value, do you? No, no, we have
Not
to
with a single
look.
comp on our house.
I'm
Yeah, we have
just
to look.
looking at these other houses though, why are they, this one's 440, this one's 415, and the other one's 387?
There are many values of houses. There are many that are 460 and 480 and 512 and, I mean, I
But
could
these
pull
are
a
the
million.
Your system picked these though.
Well,
I
you
didn't
picked, you chose those. What else,
Yeah,
other ones?
your
I mean-
system picked these, I didn't pick these. I mean, if you guys
I
are
don't
on
know,
the system right
$70
now, you
$75.
picked them, I didn't pick these. I could have picked ones that were much more expensive, but I didn't, because your system picked these. It was
Yes, our
automatically
system
generated.
shows a range of sales, ma'am, I won't deny that. However, we also have to look and see what is the market value of things. If you put your house in the market today, would you put 450 on it?
Well, I think that's what it'd be worth, but of course, who wouldn't want more for their house?
So you would put more on.
No, I put 450. But if somebody offered more, I'd take it. That's all I'm saying.
Do you think someone would offer more?
No.
I think they would, based on my experience, 20 years as a certified appraiser in the state of New York, I do think that.
Why, can I ask why you think that?
Because I looked at market sales of houses that are similar to yours, and they're selling at a high level. but we have a taxable status date. Now, so we do have that 147, we put it to 160, we do have that 147 that we were at originally. So I would say to you that, you know, it is board, I would say that I did think that it was based on the certificate of occupancy, which came across my desk for some reason this year, and I did change it. So, that if it went back to its original assessment, I'd be fine with that. I would make a recommendation to the board for the 147, was the
147.9 was what they reduced it to.
that's what it was reduced to, that's what it was up until this year when I changed it to 160 in error.
What is the board then?
They don't give it termination today, ma'am, but I'm making a recommendation tonight for that number.
They meet again in a couple days and discuss everything that they've heard
Oh.
before they give determination and notify you in writing.
Okay.
I'm so sorry for that. I mean, I really, it happens sometimes. I have so many going across my desk, and, unfortunate.
Busy job.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So, yeah, if it's that, that assessment, I would agree with that. I don't want any higher than that one.
Yes, ma'am. I understand. Although I still do think your house is worth more, I will agree that I do think it error, sorry. Very
All
sorry.
right,
about it.
great. Am I all set then? Do I have to sign?
The board will make their
Let me
determination,
know.
let you know.
All right, thanks.
Thank you.
No one ever comes in and just says thank you to us.
Oh, yeah? Gotta be polite, right?
I think you're on break now, right? Nobody here till 8:10.
Okay, maybe we could go and get Laura, to see if she's got letters ready. I heard Journey's letters are ready. We want to read those into the, we might be able to do all of our letters, our corrections of errors, everything should be available. So, board, we don't have anyone coming in for a little while. We do have correction letters, we have, stipulation letters, and we have, a couple of, I'm not sure, but we'll read them into the record. If you'll, permit us to. And then I think we have somebody coming in again, maybe 12 or something, or 15. We have somebody coming in,
He's here. You want him to come in early? He's not scheduled till 8:10. We want to knock him out of the way and then we're done with people?
and that's fine with me.
Yes?
Does anybody need water? Are you guys all good? Do you want to have a little water break or have us bring you some water or your bottles? No?
I have this coughing type thing going on.
Okay.
Seems like nothing I can do.
Water won't help? Hi. Please have a seat.
So-called LLC? What are you so-called LLC? Yeah. Right? I can swear you. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the information you are about to give will be given accurately and truthfully to the best of your ability? So, tell us what, what you need. Or what you do. I'm sorry, tell us, give us your case.
Okay, I subdivided the land there, it's all building on it. You see, there was 42 acres lot with all building. Rest of the building I eliminated before, and I subdivided, but not even, but 6 months ago, with 2 lots, okay, we got all the information. With the house with 2 acres and balance is the land of 40 acres. The house is vacant over 25 years, and with complete renovation or whatever, complete renovation, was not occupied. And And I got the pictures for you, even I got some extra things you want to see on my phone. And I own lot next to it, which is appraised in your assessment for 20, I think 8,009. And you estimate that house with the land, the house is worth nothing actually, it's not asset at all, because I have to do two things, renovate it or knock down to build new house. That means I appraise the land, there is the all standing on it, I estimate, and the value probably same like lot next door, okay, but $25,000 or something, I wrote it down. And you appraise astronomical number, like 89,000, I think.
It's 16,900.
68.
And market value is about 230,000, okay? And all the land I own, actually, I do try to sell the land last year. My best offer I got was 120,000 for that. 42 acres plus the building. That's the best offer I got. It's a market value. And I add all together, the land and the lot in market value comes to over 300,000. I only got offer, the best offer I should probably can get for sign also. I was trying for almost a year to sell it, the 120,000. See, I overpaid tremendously for all those years. Look, I mean, if you want to buy, be my guest. You are a businessman, probably. I will sell it to you. If you want to pay market value, I will be gladly leaving you for with the check. You know, like I said, the house, if I get rid of the land, I want to use that money, restore the house. Actually, I did one in Monroe, and guy said I restored 1853 house, and they said it's the best property in the town. Took me 10 years to do it. It's much more working profit, store the house than build new house. Easier to build it, only I like this structure to the point that bones are good, only complete renovation. My estimate is between 300 to 350,000 to put it in good shape. If I sell the land, I actually overpaid. 2007, I paid 605,000 for that property, okay? That means I'm getting beat daily. I pay you guys over these years, over 100 properties, over 100,000, 150 in taxes. I sell 2 lots for 150, plus subdivision cost, cost money. I mean, red bed, put it this way. And with the value that I don't mind, like I said, pay the appraised value, like I said, 28,000 for house, more, that's fine. Only the land. And now they subdivide 2.2 acres with the old house. My opinion is only for maximum the land. The building lot.
Are both of these are separate deeds?
Yes.
Oh, okay, because I don't want to
Got
get
it there,
confused.
I did it,
I
so
see that, but I mean.
I looked at it, even I give you the one next door, I own 1.9 acres. That one is asset for, I think, $9,000, okay? And the market value, all together is about 330,000 for all the land. Only like I said, the best offer I got was 120,000 for everything. That means the market value is actually 3 times more than I paid for it. I mean, I paid 3 times more.
Hi, sir. So can I speak? Is it okay? So we saw that there was, this property is in fact on the market. And that there is a pending offer on it. Did you have a pending offer, sir?
120,000.
And you're settling at 120?
120, that's. Building lot, the house.
Is that all? Is that all the lots?
Oh, the house is on that lot?
This is a different lot, is that
There
correct?
are 3 lots. 40 acres, that's the big land.
This one is the 42-acre lot.
The 42 acres was subdivided in January, I think, so I got final. For two parcels, one is 40 acres,
Okay,
one is 2.2 acres with old house, okay?
gotcha.
And
You're
I
gonna keep
also
the
own right
2.2.
next to it, 1.9 acre building lot. For all the trees, before it was subdivided, all the land,
Mhm.
the best offer I got is 120,000.
So
That's
the offer,
120,000
so is
is
that
just on the
this
lot.
pending offer?
Yeah, I
This
told
is
that,
just for the lot that's 40 acres.
42 acres.
So I want to just say that if the board looks at paperwork on this, there's 2 cards on this. We had 2 houses on this property. The gentleman came into our office recently and he said that he doesn't know anything about the 3,500 square foot property. As far as he knows, it was never there, but it must have been there in some time period. It's the first of the 2 cards. We haven't had a chance to send anybody out, and we advised them to come in and fill out a grievance. We have to do some research on this property. I have to send someone out, which you said you're willing for us to do,
I
right?
got no pictures on my phone and I give you the pictures how the
Yes,
house looks.
You do, but we also want to go out and do a personal inspection, if we have your permission.
It's fine with me, I can go anytime you want it, I got a key, I can let you in, you can inspect it.
Oh, the inside of the house with the pictures you gave me, there's not a dispute. We just want to go make sure that that other 3,500 square foot building is gone.
It's
You have
gone.
to- if
I
we
got
have to look at it.
Here, I show you what I got, if you want to look at it.
I
That
understand,
was
sir.
the first subdivision I made. I had to knock all, there was tremendous mess there. I got 10 huge 10 by 10 feet dump
That
trucks.
was probably the
to
other building.
eliminate all the shacks and, I don't know, garages and they burned down, that was, they burned down. That was the part of the approval of subdivision you bought to eliminate that house. I did that, I can show you the original one, and I got a new subdivision you wanted to see.
So I just want to make sure that we're correct. You're only grieving on this one property, which is, it is the 40-acre parcel of land. Is that the
40
one?
acres and 2.2 acres was subdivided, and I was.
So are you
paying
grieving on
for
both or just one, sir? I want to make sure you don't make a mistake.
89,000, yeah, I was paying 89 times, and actually, I was overpaying it. Appraised one for all those years, okay? Now, you appraise the land for 48,000 and the house for 89,000.
Well, sometimes when you separate lots, the value ends up that it's not, it doesn't go down to.
In this case, value never went up because nothing was created. Created was just separate lot.
Yes.
But I agreed to pay taxes. I don't, see, all those years, I always pay taxes.
No, I understand
Okay.
totally. We will
Only
correct it if it's
It's
incorrect.
overpaying so much, 200 votes and overpaying, I think is ridiculous.
Well,
Okay,
that's the way I
Mark,
saw it when I
Mark,
did it, but we will
2007,
look at it and
and
I will make a
2007.
recommendation.
2007, it was different. The stupidity growth, we pay top prices. Since 2000, stupidity fell down. And I got caught in. And I ended up paying taxes of 2007, all those years.
And we're back up to the same levels as 2007 now.
That's what I'm trying to say. I paid
I understand
all
what
those
you're
years.
saying.
Now, I subdivided because I want to restore the house. I need to sell the land to use that money for the house. I
Okay,
am not Rockefeller. I'm working man, like I said, I restored the house, the place is the best site in Monroe. Took me 10 years. I don't mind work. Only here, I'm.
I assure you, we will make a recommendation to the board for you.
He said, you make the assets here, when in reality, in outside is different. Real life, real, like I said, market life, that's fine, I stick to it, to the market value, I appraise the market value, I got the numbers. If, in your case,
We
the
agree.
3 lots, what I paid, it's 371,000. And I only had over 120.
Okay, well, we agree, we will look at the value, we will take off that building that's on there, we'll correct your card. We understood as soon as you were talking with us about it, that there was more that needed to be done. We'll make a recommendation to the
The
board.
one building
just
lot,
finish
what
it.
was
Let me-
it okay?
sir, let me explain to you. I wanna make
That's
sure.
okay, that's okay. Now, that 42 acres I divide, you
understand what you're
Okay,
saying.
now, they are not even worth that much, what I was paying before.
Okay, so we will take that other parcel, nothing's gonna happen with that, because you've only grieved this one parcel. I just wanna make sure you understand, you've only grieved the one parcel. So that's the one we're gonna look at. The other parcel is gonna stay as it is. I don't know if you're happy with that or not, but just be aware, you've only grieved on one parcel. That is the one that we will correct. We'll make a recommendation to the board, they can do whatever it is that they want, you know, based on what you're saying or whatever, sir, but I just want you to know that it's this one.
Now, let me justify. This is brand new estimate, was just subdivided this year in January. From subdivision, you create, well, actually, you don't create any well, you just subdivide it, okay? The board parcels, that was 42 acres, was this year in January, I got the subdivision, you probably do too, was approved by you guys.
That's why we revalued
And
it.
now, last year, the value of the land was zero, okay? The land was appraised 69,000 with the house. Now, it's went up to about 110,000, went up to, I got somewhere, it says it, but 110,000, okay? The land and the house. And last year, before that, was,
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it, thank you.
what I'm saying, in dealing with the new subdivision, and we have to look both of them. The land, I don't complain that much because you decrease a little bit. Only that house is ridiculous. I mean, that's what.
So
Okay,
is the house that is existing, is that on this,
Yes, that's.
that grievance that you filled out?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I wanted to make
Can you
sure.
look at page level? I give you all details. Can you look at that? Or you just take it and put it on paper? I make all the details, spend time to take the pictures. I don't know, you know.
Okay, looks like this last time.
I don't know what's going on. Or we go sleep? Now I don't understand, you know.
It's past my bedtime.
They ask you to do something and you're like, it's so simple. 142 acres
This year.
was divided. 2 acres,
Yes,
left.
that makes sense.
And that's all about it.
How many building lots can you get out of 42 acres?
Wait,
How many building lots can you subdivide to 42 acres?
There is one, two lots, 140 acres and 1.2 acres. On the page right first,
Yeah, I saw that, I mean,
I wrote it and I will make it yellow line for you. And I also marked the lot I own for a long time was subdivided 12 years ago. That one I was trying to sell for 20,000. I paid 28,000 assessed value. The best offer I got was 20,000. And I paid assessed value, market value 28,000 taxes. See, I'm not asking nothing against, I just, that one, that's fine. I pay 2,000 more, it's okay. Only here, we go 200% more for this career. One,
I don't understand.
These numbers are just.
If you, the big property, the 40,
That's my part.
how many houses can you put on that?
how many? Depend, because it's wetland, okay? So I can show you, I got it.
No, it's not, I just,
My opinion, I might, maybe I can put it. Because I talked to the guy, hey, I continue.
I need to stop you, I'm sorry, sir, because I want to make sure we're on the right property. So the property that you are grieving tonight is the one that has the property that is 4,500 square foot and is derelict. But the other, and that's on 2 acres, is that on 2 acres, Keith? How much is the acreage now? The other property,
This is 41.2.
you're gonna have to go to RPS to double check it.
This is the one you filled out three times. And that's just the section block and lot there. Any idea what the hell that is? Is that building that's not here anymore?
This looks complicated, but that's like, it was redone, was not like, it's not like this.
Okay. So this is the one that you're grieving about.
No, I mean,
it might be the second one. I think the first one is the 3,500, the 4,500.
This is the one.
That's it.
That's the house and that's the garage. Okay,
So you're not grieving the land. There's the land, the amount that we have on the land is fine. Because you have 2 lots now, you understand? 2 lots equals 2 grievances. You can't, they're not all on one insurance. The ladies need to have you fill out 2 grievances if you're gonna do 2 lots. Do you understand?
Yes, what I'm saying, I will be happy if you will do.
Just the one.
The one.
Okay,
If the land comes to maybe next year, because if I overpay for 14 years, I don't mind overpaying another year. Or you might be generous, so you say, okay, we will reimburse you retroactively.
That's a good one.
Yes, you know what I'm saying, I was overpaying.
It doesn't go backwards ever.
Well, you
That's
know,
why if you
what
want
I'm
anything
saying-
on the other land, if you want any change on the other lot, if you want us to look at it, you have to fill out another grievance form.
I know, I'm going to see the.
You can do that, still.
Destiny.
You have time.
It's not that bad, you know?
I thought that, I don't know, I thought that one was fine, so
Well,
it's
it's
8:14.
overpriced anyway, you have to understand, I said, I got over 120,000 for everything, for 3 lots,
Yes, sir.
including 48.
But now you've separated those lots out, and by
Let me
doing
show
so.
you.
By
let me show
doing
what
so,
we-
you
we
changed
can
the
do
value.
something, right here.
Okay,
Take a look at it.
thank you.
What we did, this was the 40, this is the one lot with the distance. I said, okay, $29, okay,
You should be
fine.
showing the report, because they're the ones who will be making the determination on your value, not me.
So that's finished in January. Actually, what was done, this is the 42 continued acres lot, okay, was this way. What was done, this was separated 2 acres, subdivided. Big, I think it's all woods or, and this is the house with the garage, okay? This is separate now. And that's what I'm saying, only this need complete renovation.
That's the one that's, corner.
Yeah, you see, they said, they even say
We're
it
gonna go there and confirm.
needs renovation, you know, they just say.
How long would it take you to rent it?
Right. I want to get rid of it, or if I want to, I will sell it, I want to sell it as soon as it's possible. And I'll apply for law for about 250 grand, I probably will get it. If I don't sell the land, I want to do it, because if I go do it, I live there, I only took me 6 months. Or like I said, complete renovation, old house, you continue, you never finish.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, if you want to save the character of the house, it's not just hire anybody to do it. This probably will take a good 1 year. I have to hire people, like I said, I only a minimum 250,000 to do it. Okay, I say apply for loan. Looks good, only I prefer to sell this land to someone for, you know, you got it, appraised, a new market value 280,000. I will sell it for that. Then I will use the money here, and I pay 600,000. Okay, here I show you, I pay 600,000 for it.
What is this, a road? Which pressure?
Are you looking for the bill of sale? 'Cause we can look it up for us. Is that-
That's what I was like, so it's time.
Which pressure?
Preston Road,
Is that pressure?
yeah, 24.
Or the map I turned.
That's just the-
No, I said it was turned.
Good time to sell stuff.
And I
Oh,
will.
press the road. Here.
Oh, really?
We are.
I
We are also happy to correct. We're looking to correct.
This is probably what this is. If you own a big property.
We have your contact information on your protest. Is that the right contact information to contact you? So that we can, okay, very good. Yes, I did.
And I sold two lots first, I sold these lots and these lots.
You hold on to that.
And of course, me again, additional subdivision cost money. Survey everything. Plus, I pay the taxes all those years on the empty lot for 14 years, and I am in trouble in rent about 600. Okay. And now I'm saying, hey, I can't pay for the content, actually, the house. I have to make decision, I'm 50-50. Knock the house down, build new, it's cheaper, then renovate this one, costs more money.
It looks nicer, it's like to me from those pictures, I would probably try to keep it. You think it's
Now,
still
I have
gonna
to
cost
restore
more?
it
It
because
will
nobody
cost
can
more
build on
to-
it anymore.
It's gonna
It's
cost.
stone, you know?
I would take a look at the whole thing.
No, what I'm saying is.
How many houses can you put here? Yeah,
You
these,
see, this is very like.
that,
Across the road, the stop, you see it stops here. There's another that is here behind the road. You know, go with this, this is environmental, it's tough to get permit to cross. Here I might get cross to the one house on this section. Here you see it's so.
yeah, so, yeah.
I might get to 300.
Because that's sort of, yeah, you could do that, you get all your money back.
Yeah,
Person
I
right
might
now-
do it, Brody. If I don't get decent price for that, I would do it. You know, like this lot, if I'm not getting any money for this lot, I have to build it. Only right now I get lumber than up 300%.
Yeah.
It's time to build it. These are what I'm saying, these crazy times, you know, since 2008. Like I said, that was worse than, in my book, was worse than World War II. Around the world, because this, I have to say that, this is really dangerous creator. And now, working people like me pay for it. And I have to pay for it. Now, this should be done, finished. You should see the property before I spend, like I say, I don't know, 50,000 just clean that, with shots and building what goes on. Just clean up. I think there is 10 huge, 10 by 10 dump truck to get the job done. It was all messy. Now, these two nice houses, you're getting income from it, by the same game, like, you know, like and my deal, like I said, I have to wait what happened with the economy. I'm against the thing of all coming. Every time I get build a tree, something happened. Like right now, I was ready to build, I got parents to build. I sold it to the house and it's better. People get more. Only what happened, again, before I negotiated with the contract, even the price for to build the house, stupid lumber. You know? You know, everything even I have to pay you some kind of place. I usually need to pay taxes. And it's not easy to, this is one,
Yeah, that's true.
see, it's not easy to make.
You're right.
And especially if I do it once, I will continue. I'm not. This nice house is just around, I need to have 5 acres, might be 4 or 5. Only, I am already set up in the hall. You know, and I work for every penny, I don't got this money from uncle or father, I work all my life. I was a project when I was young. Okay, then I like to do things. Like I said, I mentioned, I restored the house, took me 10 years, or it took me 6 months to move in. Then there anything like stairs, but now, you know, there was no region. Like even last year, I did one room, I did 12 years, one place. And restored them, they're beautiful.
Okay, thank you.
You know, you can't buy it.
I have on my calendar, that's okay. I know it's,
Beautiful, big living room, nice, huge dining, kitchen is big, in his house.
Oh, thank you, Lori. I know there was a reason why I was looking at something.
I know. That's why I'm
But
saying.
we gotta wait, we're not ready yet, we're not ready for us. This is good.
I got really money now, I don't have enough money to finish it, I don't want to start the clock. I get the
Yeah, we will be contacting you to come look at it, I think,
Yes.
yes, sir, definitely will. The guys will. Thank you, sir.
And you,
We'll call you.
They're making
Make
the
a
decision.
recommendation. You will give a recommendation to them and then they can decide for you. And then if you're not happy, you can go and you file small claims if you're not happy. But if I can, after we look, we'll talk with you about it and maybe we can stipulate, and it will go to them and we sign on it.
Hey, guys, can we hold on 1 second? It's very, very hard for the stenographer to get what's supposed to be in the minutes when everybody's talking at the same time.
Thank you, yes.
So she's having a very, very hard time right now.
Please, can we've heard it, or we've heard you talking to them about it, we're good, we understand it, we will call you for information.
Yes, sir.
How soon will you contact me? How soon?
Just for a loan.
It'll be, they usually contact between 10 and 14 days.
Probably though this time it's gonna be more like 15 or 16, because we have to find out from Maria, for Michelle.
That's
I don't know.
because people
Figure 15 days.
they're functioning, and so the government is, you don't have to understand what guys can.
Oh, gosh. You know what, so they'll come and see your property, and we'll talk to you in 3 days, and then if the 3 days we don't talk to you, if within 3 days we don't talk to you, okay, within 3 days if we don't talk to you, sir, then call me with the number.
Hey, just built 2 houses.
Thank you.
He pulled it out, he fixed the creek, you know, everything there.
Or if you're not there, I'll just like break the window.
Put grass down, he's out here cutting, you know. That section is all behind us.
That'll be nice.
Mother Road. It's the one that connects. He put 2 houses there.
Sorry, Michelle, about the cross talking.
I'm down here.
Yeah,
and
yeah, well, you probably bought a corner. I said, I need whatever I need for this. Yeah, that's right.
Okay, yeah.
I've seen it many, many times. Yeah. Somebody took all the are gonna be too happy. It's gonna be right there.
Yeah, so, yeah.
Speaking
And
of
then,
solar,
these
you
are
know,
work stipulations.
they said, what do you have? No.
That's all off the record. Okay, you talk to you. Michelle, can you
Because,
say,
I mean, we're talking about,
we have like, we possibly for the court.
yes,
We actually something like the 14th.
Oh.
And then on the 18th. we won't hear that. Just like the 14th.
I don't even confirm it.
see the job you give me here.
Yeah.
Let's say.
I usually. Get a
Oh,
stamp.
nobody shows up.
Yeah, they don't. Yeah, this is nothing. Well, we didn't have many people. I've made years
Yeah.
where they give me stacks like that, I'm all done. Then you know, we get some more here first. We got that, we got all the lawyers send their things, they don't show up. You gotta send it back and say, tough touch, you know, so anybody wants. I wish it was the best thing. I was.
I know that you're gonna see us Wednesday,
That was
the
the.
in the morning by 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
Let's see if they.
I'll tell you, my wife said he's not worth full yet. In fact, I think that
Yeah, I
was
mean,
16 poles. From where they had a cross, and then there's you had hit that narrow fairway, and there's a big slope down into the sand, and I mean, a mile of sand, and his way, Here's that
Okay,
slope.
boys, it's almost time for us to
Wait
talk.
one second. I hit right on top. Went over to the green. I said, oh my God. Go ahead.
Okay, so we have,
Are you on?
yes, this is the on the record.
Okay.
yes, Sorry, on the
Okay.
record, everyone. Okay, so Michelle, you have two possible dates for her to have all of this typing that was done tonight. And the dates are the 16th, which is a Wednesday, June 16th, and we have a Friday, June 18th. Thursday is closed up, there's no availability for the town. This room in the town, so that's not a good day for determination. So we have a choice of the 16th or the 18th. She can't get it done on the 14th or the 15th because she's just coming back. So can you guys come in on either the 16th or the 18th? And the 16th is a Wednesday, the 18th is a Friday. And it would be 10 o'clock till.
16th is already, I'd rather go on a Wednesday than Friday. Wednesday's good. No good, no, Wednesday's good, yeah. It's fine.
Wednesday's fine.
Wednesday, that's 3 Wednesdays. Joe, what do you got?
Wednesday's good.
4 Wednesdays, we got
Okay.
four McCoy.
Right, we have 4 Wednesdays, so Wednesday, the 16th is gonna be the day for the board of sessional review. I'm gonna have them bring in the letters for signature. Did they give them to you? Did you already give these letters for signature yet? No, okay, so we now have to give you the letters for signature that we're gonna be sending out.
I got it.
Oh, so you've got, okay, good. And the next thing is we've got to read some things into the record.
What time do you wanna meet on the 16th?
Usually it's somewhere, I reserved the room from 10 o'clock to 4:30. Is that okay?
Oh, we're not gonna do that.
Well, no, but we just,
Yeah. It's the morning is okay, everybody?
Yeah, it's fine.
That's really fine. Huh? Yeah. Okay,
10 o'clock.
10 o'clock Wednesday morning. What, 14? 16.
on the 16th, Wednesday, June 16th at 10 a.m. Remember, we are gonna ask you to look, we are gonna have a lot of stuff for you to do. We're gonna be calling in all of the addresses to the record. So if you guys will excuse me for a few minutes, I'm gonna just go and make sure, see what's going on with them. You're still signing, right? You're not ready for us to read into the
Is that
record?
what she just gave me?
No,
Oh, I know.
Yeah, I think this is what you're talking about, right?
Yes, we
Hearing before
usually
the
read it out loud,
Okay.
so.
Calling addresses to the record in the newspaper.
We're reading, in other words, what we're doing is we're reading into the record all of the corrections of errors, the signed stipulations, and is there anything else on that list?
Yeah, there was.
So that can't be scanned and.
Stipulation, correction, no, it was
Okay, so we're just gonna read them into the record really quick.
So it can't be scanned and added to the record?
Well, you know what, we're a public hearing here, and because we're a public hearing, everyone has the right to hear who's actually submitted paperwork. That's the reason why we read it into the record every year.
Sure.
So that everyone can be aware of these are the section block and lots that are, or addresses or names.
Okay, let me know when you-
Yeah, sure.
You want me to go and get a copy from her myself?
No, you can read it and then
We're gonna read it.
Oh, but I'm gonna, let me go get another copy. Can you guys
That's why
hang out for
nobody
1
wants
second?
this,
I'm just gonna run and get a copy. Go ahead, Michelle, I'll just get it from her.
You just decide later. Yeah, I thought we were gonna have to say about that.
You know, like,
No, that's right.
like tall, like I'm gonna.
We got
My program will recognize
Like they do at the stadium.
it's like words,
Sorry.
like if I say, you know,
This is
it's
a check.
not-
Yeah, that's all I'm saying.
I watched.
What time did you? But like, if you're saying, like, no, like.
They do,
like,
they do.
if you're tall,
They
it's
do.
gonna be like,
Kids
it's my
and boys.
actual, like, so it's.
Yeah. I enjoy it.
Like the TV
Like, I know she
Yeah.
doesn't.
I love
For me, it's like.
But that.
I'm just gonna have, yeah.
I only saw the last 3, 4.
That's why we're.
That's
Oh,
like
you
this.
probably-
That's why I stayed Saturday and then I said, well,
Yeah, oh, yeah.
he's got a fall apart. But he was right on his knees. I remember the swings. two things back and forth.
He might as well.
Yeah. But, you know, I can still remember that wherever it was, where it was, he went into the last day of the game. Some great,
Yeah.
I guess, times when you had some losses. I didn't think anybody got it. I don't, I
So that-
never played, I didn't want that so longer. It was a short. I remember reading the book, 5 Lessons to Demo. But he said, you swing as hard as you can, and you keep practicing until the ball goes where you want. That's true, yeah. And he had a wonderful swing. Great play. It takes time. Really, even, well, he's hurt now.
I know.
Okay,
Tiger Woods, he had to do his house. He had holes where and he hit balls all day. Sure. It was a different course, just like different course. You know, on the west end.
Okay, so I'm going to read out the section block and lots of all of the properties that did not appear today, but filed grievances in the town of Newburgh. I'm not going to read their addresses. And there's too many different names. I'm not going to read the names. A lot of them are from the lawyer's offices. So it's section 9-3-7, section 97-1-55, section 100-5-5-2, section 95-1-69.12. Those are attorneys. Then I'm going to go on to Aventine, which is section 1-1-11.22, section 6-1-104.1, section 6-4-17.1, section 6-4-23, section 7-1-18.11, section 7-1-49.1, section 7-1-50.3, section 9-3-53.212, section 17-1-109.1, section 20-1-2.14, section 20-1-3.33, section 20-2-25, section 20-6-8, section 20-7-2, section 26-4-8, section 34-2-31, section 34-2-71.2, section 40-1-8, section 43-1-40, section 43-5-3.11, section 43-5-6, section 43-5-28.1, section 43-5-28.2, section 43-5-28.31, section 43-5-38, section 41-5-74, section 45-1-15.12, in other words, section 46-4-14, section 50-1-21, section 60-2-38.22, section 62-3-14, Section 76-6-6.11. Section 84-2-1.1. Section 86-1-5.245. Section 117-4-2. Section 117-4-23. Section 119-1-109. Section 122-1-6. Section 125-1-32. Section 125-1-41. That completes 17. Now we have another law firm, Cronin and Cronin. Section 75-1-21.12. Section 95-1-14.21. And then Bobrowski is section 60-3-21.21. And there's section 60-3-28.2. And Goldman is section 95-1-45.12. And then Herman Tax is section 34-1-29.1. And 34-1-30.2, 47-1-83.11, 60-3-29.11, 60-3-32.11, 60-3-32.21, 63-1-22.22, 76-4-3, 77-2-2.1, 82-1-34, 86-1-39.21, 95-1-1.22, 95-1-8, 95-1-32.1, 95-1-32.3, 95-1-47.2, 95-1-74, 97-2-7.21, 97-2-7.22. And then we have Hudson Valley properties, 6-1-124, 6-4-18.2, and 6-4-41. Then we have Jacobus and Lubitz, 97-1-65.2. So then we have Gennaro Cat. That is 20-2-60, 95-1-1.1, 95-1-68, 97-1-28.1, 97-2-48.2. Then we have Propel, Marco, Maroni. We have 66-3-11, 66-3-19, 66-3-20. There's neighbor 78-3-19.1. We have O'Donnell, 43-5-47. O'Donnell, we have 75-1-34.14. We have Ryan for 97-3-22.1 and 97-3-22.2. Savan Churkin is 80-6-7, 97-1-54, 97-3-1.2. Sokol, Schroeder and Storm, 35-4-1.111, 86-1-34, 97-1-22, 99-4-23.22, 100-5-22.22, 100-5-67.2. Sokol, 20-2-7.4, 20-2-12.21, 79-1-14. Savitsky, 95-1-39.21. Stanger, staying again, 84-3-9. 95-1-14.222. 112-1-1.50.58. 112-1-1.117. 121-1-15. Joe St. Ange, 60-3-40.2. Tax reduction experts, 3-1-120. Stipulations. We have a stipulation for 2-2-7.4, named Wallace. Then we have 22-2-43.212, name of Ostrom. 32-4-28.2, Angeline Navrongiannis. Sorry about that. We have representatives, I think, 34-1-28, 35-3-2.2, 41-2-18.1, 73-2-16, 114-1-1.82, 86-1-37.1, and then corrections of error, that's the last bunch. 105-3-5 on Manley, 51-5-42 on Chazen, 58-6-20 on Cheers, 77-10-18 on Capello, and 72-9-1.2 on Mason. That completes our record of all the properties except for the people who came in person, which were already in the record for this year. Do we have any other taxpayers? What time is it?
Well, good.
So right now, we have to wait till 9 o'clock, but right now, everything's been registered to record. Thank you.
Good job.
Nice work.
So glad that's over. Okay, so I guess we're gonna sit here now, we have to just wait, so I'm gonna go and give this back to Laura, because I want her to have her copy now, and I'll be right back. I'll make sure that
Yeah, don't know how you work. See, that's why you're chair. You're not typing now. are you?
No, but this is on.
That's on?
Yeah, this is being recorded because it'll be posted on the Town of Newburgh website. So just because there's nobody in the room.
Can you move it back so we can start over?
Yes, I'll rewind it.
When will we be on the air?
You're on the air right now.
And I mean, when can I watch it from home?
I don't know. I've actually never recorded a meeting before, so I think it just gets saved on like the Zoom cloud and then they can post it. I think. I guess I'll find out.
Will you make a soundtrack of this, music?
Yeah, what kind of music are you into?
I think some just upbeat pop, will be one a good move.
Yeah, definitely. I'm sure we can do that.
Does the town have a town song?
We should vote on one right now.
Yes, we could. I remember years ago, we actually talked about this for.
flag.
Really?
Charlie Walzak, that was his.
Exactly.
That was his big thing.
Yes, yes.
Charlie Walzak.
Yes. Yeah, he was a council.
1987, he and I ran together for town board. He was one of my boss.
Regina ran for, assessor, not assessor, no, receiver of taxes. But it was a uphold.
No, you're yawning.
Both sides at a time.
Can't help it.
Me neither.
I'm usually in bed by 8 o'clock.
Are you really?
Yeah, I get up so early,
How early?
like 5.
Really?
I get up at 5, but I flush the toilet and go back to bed.
I wish. My dog doesn't allow me to go back to bed. He's like, oh, we're up, let's go.
My taxes on
Oh my
right now it's 5.
Oh,
In the office, but still. Yeah, mornings are the best. You get so
I
much
do
done.
enjoy
It's
the
quiet.
mornings, yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
enjoy a good cup of coffee,
Yeah.
break in, read the Wall Street Journal.
It is nice. Everybody else is still sleeping. Yeah.
I'm so sick of it. Fortunately, since I was sick, it says, it was $14. Wednesday, and you get a wristwatch. I said, what else is the extra? Now, it was Wall Street, they wear this watch on Wall Street. It's an alligator. They said, Roman rules. So I said, well, for $14, I'll take a shot. I want to get the magazine. So I sent it in. 14 a month. 14 a month? No, 14 was total. So, all of a sudden, about maybe 2 weeks, oh, the watch comes in. Because they said, 3 to 5 weeks for make everything. So about 2 weeks, I got the watch. This is great. This guy's on the board. So I look at it, and the book starts up. It's great. It's still in my dresser. I haven't worn it yet. Put it in the drawer. It's running. I shouldn't have started it, run the battery down. But anyway, it's a nice watch. So now I still get the magazine. Well, I get the magazine. With a month and a half. So he sent me a letter last week. And it says, since you're such a good customer, we're going to give you, we will offer you $10. You can have a whole year of subscriptions. And I said, so you're crazy to get that magazine. I said, well, I'll tell you what I am going to do. I'm going to write him a letter. And I was going to say, you have convinced me that this wristwatch is Wall Street, because you take the money first and don't give the product. And I was all set to do that. And believe it or not, I got the first magazine today.
And everybody knows about it now.
Yeah, well, I'm glad. I swear to God, can you imagine? I didn't get one magazine. The moment they sent me a letter to renew my subscription. No, they didn't say I had a subscription. Renew this.
Who is it?
No one's here.
I said, are you crazy? And I said, oh, I couldn't wait to write this. And they didn't care if it had the wristwatch is worth $14.
One day, my partner and I, I think we went down by train. We went down to, Grand Central, and we ended up on 59th Street. And this was years ago, and there was a guy selling watches,
The one person didn't show up on the first.
and he sees a Rolex.
Let's
So he gets all excited, and buys one for $5. So from 59th Street, I think we walked 5 blocks, and had an appointment with a real estate agent, and the watch stopped working. He got so upset, he said, we're going back to 59th Street. And I remember, I said, you really think we're going to find this person? He was so mad, he walked to 59th Street, sure enough, he wasn't there.
No, he's moved on to the next street.
Really fast.
The the fact that it's a Rolex for $5, that would be like cool, right there. No, this was the biggest deal, you know, he was all excited, it was, you know, it was yellow gold, and, oh, he was so proud. Maybe we're like really acquired watch in June 6th. Oh, goodness. Yeah. It's really a nice watch, but for $14, I couldn't go wrong. I think you did wrong. Yeah, and so now I got one magazine, the first one came today. You know, that is a substantial. I know, it's like a book. Oh, yeah, I mean, and it's.
What's the biggest?
Forbes, right? Huh? Was it Forbes? Forbes, yeah, oh, it's substantial.
Yeah.
Did you guys pick a meeting date?
Yeah.
Yeah,
June
June
16th.
16?
16 at 10 a.m.
10 a.m., June 16th.
You bring the coffee.
That's awfully early. Alright, that's from 16 to 10
Yeah, but that's when we're the sharp.
I know you get up at 5, but you know, everyone's different.
That's my nap time.
I was almost
10 a.m.
relishing the fact that I was going to write this letter, you know, not nasty, just sarcastic. And I was out of work, thinking about it, and I got the magazine, I said, damn. I just got to look at it, just open it up, it's got it's got like newspaper pages, you know, it doesn't have the eyeballs. It's, I mean, it's a soft paper, you know, it's not high gloss, but
Pretty
it's,
big.
we
I
got
think
good,
there's-
nice pictures.
There's
I
8
just took it.
new applications and then the 2 holdovers.
From
last month. Well, actually, technically, the one holdover is the one that, that did the college with Ashley.
Waste of stamp.
The last one.
They said, for $10. I said, so, so I know I got it, so I feel better. So I don't get
Very
it.
early.
I-
So that was from like.
Because I said, you know, I only had, I think, because the second offer they made for $10.
I was actually wondering what happened with that one.
Oh, yeah.
I was
But you
thinking
know,
about it
it's
because
never
I-
even care what you.
Yeah, it's usually the last
You're
one.
these banks.
I forget because
They
now,
care
like, I
So
do
they
like
can
every
sell
week,
me.
so I don't
subscription
remember
that's worth-
sometimes.
That's how I get to it.
No, yeah.
Especially when they go back and forth.
For
like,
that. It's just like.
And this is a long one because I think last
You talk
month
about the
was
last
like, was 5 weeks in that month. So we had like a big space between, so, and then now it's this month. So it feels like it was a long time ago.
They advertise, they go to the
But you know, is this equalization?
We got 100,000 subscribers. We got 100,000 subscribers. They don't realize it's always, it's just.
But she agreed to it.
I mean, the paper, you know, the actual. The internet was being introduced. For free. So
The girls are getting right.
real times. And it didn't cost them.
Nine times
The
out of
paper part of that was this guy. Yeah, oh, yeah. Look at the middle number. There are 40-page paper. There's nothing in it. There's nothing. Everything in it is from Los Angeles Times, anybody. Any person. No, you're right. They got first.
Well, loopholes is realistic.
When you used to read it years ago, they had a Newburgh Bureau.
I didn't know.
Well, they just sold them. They don't, and Ottawa newspapers, as you know, the town has one that's lovely there.
They're still trying to get me to renew.
But when you close the gap now, there's only a little bit of money left.
We had a big argument. So, I didn't put in it. I don't want it, and I don't like it. So we gotta pay you back bill. I said, what back bill? From the day your subscription ended, we start charging. Just to go ahead.
I didn't post it, but they weren't delivering it. They were in town. So, I was, I'm like, oh, I don't know. One day, 4 days later, so I call them up every single day. And I go through a super, yeah, they started talking, but you just gotta record it. And then you tell them, I'll say,
Did have
and I was,
sale prices with more.
Call it credit. You look at what you are.
So,
It's like, the first credit card is sorry, me, if I say, well, all right, you can have, tomorrow, 2 papers, or, you know, I'll bring one with each, one each eye. You can have 2 papers, or we'll extend, we'll extend.
on the ones that he has.
And I say to them, if you think I'm stupid, you got my credit card, everyone can see it at the same time, whether you deliver or not, and you're gonna extend it, and it's gonna give me, come on, let's be real, that's what I- so anyway.
Excluding
They,
the ones that
they,
stay down.
they actually owe me.
The ones where he's,
what's this,
but it's
30,
approved. I'm on 450.
And I
Me,
figured
your
out,
value
the
is
paper's $2.50, they, it's $2.50.
Yeah, but then it's
It's
still
more
more
than that.
than he's.
But anyway.
Give me my thing. When the case was over, if not, then.
So one of them was, they don't deliver it, they deliver it sporadically. I said, and they keep charging me, right, that's all I got. And every time I call them, I said, so they owe me actually this number of dollars.
Time?
It's time.
It's 9 o'clock.
Nine.
Can you guys sort of leave?
No problem.
Hey,
I said, what are you gonna do? So we'll go to their account.
You need to adjourn, guys.
Take the hammer.
You need the
Oh,
hammer.
no, meeting was like.
Thank you, everyone, for your
They
service.
took the money from your account, so a couple days. later,
Gloria,
they
front
wrote it,
door.
said,